Hello content creators. This video serves as a quick overview of the course, as well as an introduction, a little bit of information about me and why you should listen to what I have to say. First and foremost, I am a gamer. I love playing games. I've been into games since the ZX Spectrum. I love my games. I'm also an accomplished online course creator. I have several different online courses, each one getting better than the last. With this being my latest one, I believe it is the best one that I have created. With regards to YouTube, I've worked with many YouTubers creating videos for their different channels. I've dealt with quite a few people in this scenario, and my videos have done very, very well on their channels. I also love sharing my knowledge, and I don't hold things back. I give you all the nitty-gritty details, like when we're looking at OBS, for example. The biggest complaint I've read online is people just don't know how to set it up. So I created a video on each and every single one of the settings, just so you can get things perfect and get it just the way that I do it. When I come up with an idea to create a new course that I'm going to post online, it takes me nearly 10 times as much time just sitting down with pen and paper designing the course and actually recording. I start off thinking, what do I want the people to learn? And I set that as the end game. And then I decide, and how much should people know when they get started? And that's the beginning. And I start fleshing it out from both sides, beginning and end. And then I put everything into the correct order. I make sure all the notes are done. And this is all before I even sit down to begin recording. I don't try to jump ahead too far. I rather make sure that when we discuss a topic, you've learned everything leading up to that topic so you know and understand what I'm doing. I strongly believe that people need to understand something properly in order for them to remember it. The best way is for me to make sure that each section is dedicated to one type of task. Then underneath that, each video is dedicated to completing a particular task within the main task itself. The length of each video is decided by what makes sense. Each video will end at a logical conclusion once the task is completed, once you've understood something, before we continue. So if that means a video can only be 1 minute long, or if the video has to be 15 minutes long, so be it. I believe that's a much better way to go. Let's just run through the course breakdown. The section 1 is just preparing for YouTube Success. When you log in, you'll see there's an extra video in there, which will be this one that you're watching right now. This is really just the introduction, what you need to know, what you need to think about, and the very first steps to creating a YouTube channel before you even start recording. The next big thing to think about, section 2, and this is one of the larger sections. You need to be able to record at a professional level. YouTube is no longer just a whole bunch of people recording random stuff and putting it on. The things that you watch out there are very, very well done. With how good PCs are getting, you have no excuse but to make sure that you are doing the best that you possibly can. I find Open Broadcaster software is amazing. I've used several different recording softwares. Some have cost me hundreds of dollars, and OBS is still the one that I go back to. So this is the one that I recommend, not just because it's so good, but also the fact that it's free. It's unbelievable. It's an open source project, always being updated, and it will always remain free. The audio recording software I use is called Audacity. It's also free, it's also open source, and it is fantastic quality. The reasons why I use it is not just because it's free, but it is honestly very, very good. I've compared its recording quality to OBS, as well as the studio suite that I use, Camtasia, and various other products, and Audacity is as good or better than everything that I've tried. I only use it for voice. I like to keep my gaming sound different, so I let OBS record that, and my vocals come through Audacity. So then I show you how do I clean up my voice and hide computer fan noise and all those kinds of nasty things. The next section is a few tricks on how to edit your YouTube videos. Before we actually start editing, we go through things like how to download free music that you can use from YouTube that you don't even need to attribute to the artists. We discuss software like Handbrake, which is fantastic for converting and compressing your YouTube videos. Then we go through another trick that I use quite often in Movie Maker, which allows me to make time-lapse looking videos. I find these are actually very, very popular. Because I record things separately, i.e. I keep my video in one file and my voice audio in another, we go through how do we synchronize audio and video files, and so on. The software I use for editing is Camtasia. However, I am not using anything in here that is specific to Camtasia. So you don't need to go out and purchase it. You can just try the 30-day free trial, or if you already have something like from Adobe that you like to use, all of the techniques that I use will work in that. Section 5 is about the nitty-gritty. This is setting up your YouTube side. How do you create the channel? How do you verify your accounts? Even go through compressing your file for easier YouTube upload. For you guys on fiber optic, you probably can skip that lesson. Once you've uploaded and published your video and the world can see it, with a new channel, 0 subs, 0 views, and only 1 video, you can't expect it to do well. So this is going outside of YouTube to try and bring people into your channel for the first time. That's all for now, folks. I've kept the sections the way that they are, so when I do add lectures, when people are asking a lot of questions, I can easily slot it in without breaking the workflow. So go ahead, post on the discussion board. Let me know what else you want to learn. Let me know what you don't understand, what more you want from it, and I'll be able to fit it in. Welcome back, future content creators. This video we're going to be looking at what you need to think about and the checks that you need in place before you actually create your YouTube channel. This is the sort of thing that you want to get right in the beginning so you don't waste a lot of time uploading to a channel that's not going to work out. So follow these steps, keep it from the beginning, work your way through, and this is your route to success. First and foremost, you need to choose a topic or category that you genuinely enjoy, because you'll be creating a lot of content just to build up enough videos to start grabbing subscribers. You don't want to run out of ideas or hate making another video after just making 10 or 20. The percentages shown here shows what percentage of people view the various categories. With music being at number 1, it means that 76% of all people who visit YouTube engage in videos in that category, followed by gaming and so on. So the ideal situation is when you love a topic that falls into one of the top categories. Just keep in mind that while they have the most viewers, there are also a lot of competition. So you need to make sure your videos are good, but that's why you're doing this course, isn't it? I personally love gaming and I play quite a few different games online and on my local network with my kids at home, so it makes sense for me to work in that category, but any of the top ones can bring in large amounts of money. When YouTube was becoming the giant that it is today, it was easy to get on top. All you had to do was make videos of fair quality on a consistent basis. Most cell phone cameras back then were still pretty poor quality, so it was the norm. But now the majority of phones have incredible quality. Average computers have the capability to record high quality stuff, and huge amounts of software is available for regular people to use. TV is now playing catch up to the world of online streaming. Modern on-demand services like Netflix and so on are really just copying how existing online streaming sites like YouTube have been operating for years. And while they're growing in popularity, more and more people are still moving over to YouTube. You don't need to record in 4K resolution at 120 frames per second yet. But remember that there are a lot of other people releasing videos, so the only way to compete is to offer a professional product. That's why this course is here, to teach you how to do that. Remember, this is a genuine career path. Take it seriously and you will be rewarded. The top YouTuber, PewDiePie, earned an estimated $12 million last year. I know several YouTubers that you probably haven't even heard of that are earning approximately $5,000 a month. So even if you aren't aiming for the top spot, you just need to be doing good videos on a consistent basis, keeping your subscribers happy, and you can earn a very good income from this. Another key is that you need to be original. As much as we love PewDiePie, but we only need one. Don't try to emulate other YouTubers. It's great to take some ideas, some advice, learn a few tricks, but don't try to copy their catchphrases and that sort of thing. People will see through that very, very quickly. You'll hear that my tone of voice changes from my gaming videos. Right now you're listening to Lecture Voice Steve, which is fine for teaching, but not so much for gaming. You need to let your own flavor, your own brand, your own personality out, so the people who are watching your videos kind of get to know you, get a feel for you, and they want to come back and see more. You need to think about branding from the very beginning. I don't mean you have to rush out and start spending a lot of money on creating graphics and that sort of thing, but the first part about branding is choosing a name. I can't tell you what to choose, it needs to be your choice, but from all the advice I've read and after looking at all the people who have failed, and as well as my channels that didn't do well in the beginning, a lot comes down to these 4 main issues. There are channels who copy another popular person's channel and just add a few letters to make it new, but people aren't that stupid and they see that you're just trying to copy or just sort of ride off somebody else, and you won't get a lot of subscribes that way. Ideally, the name will have something to do with you. Perhaps loosely based on your real name or related to a hobby that you are passionate about. Catchy sells. If you look at the top YouTube channels, the vast majority have catchy sounding names. It makes them memorable. You want people to be able to tell friends over the phone what your channel is called without having to spell it out a million times or get it confused with a similar sounding name. Think about your audience. If you are doing something in the science and technology field targeted towards people in their 30s, you don't want to call yourself the Fluffy Bunny Killer, but that might suit people in their 20s in the gaming category. YouTube and Google often change their SEO and how people will be able to find your videos. One year you'll find that meta tags are more important than another year. Sometimes it's amount of views and this and that. It seems like they're constantly changing how you are searched and how you're optimized and how you will get to the top of a page category. One thing that has not changed is the fact that consistency is key. You can have high quality and interesting video, but you won't get many subscribers if you're not consistently creating content. If you are testing the waters and don't have time or the money to do this full time yet, then try to get at least one video out a week and get it published on the same day at about the same time. You will see your views slowly get higher and higher and more subscribers as time goes on. The reasons why I chose gaming is, firstly, it's something that I love to do anyway, and now I can actually justify a pretty bad habit and say it's part of my career, so that's good for me. It's also an incredibly popular category, which means that there is a lot of money floating around. I mean, I pointed out earlier that PewDiePie earned about $12 million US. I know quite a few people in the gaming category, average people, not even nearly as famous as PewDiePie, who are getting $5,000-$6,000 every single month from it. Another big bonus for me is that it is less expensive than most other video types to create. This is because you don't need to invest in high quality cameras, you don't need to go travel, you don't need an actual studio. There's a lot of things you don't need to do when you're doing gaming videos. It all comes down to knowing how to use good screen capture software, how to edit it, and how to publish properly. Everything like that is covered in this course. It's also nice that I don't need to rely on other people. With gaming or anything that you can record directly on the desktop, it's all up to you. While I will be using gaming in this course, I have laid it out that you don't have to be making gaming videos in order for you to benefit a lot from this course. So now you need to figure out, are you allowed to actually use the gameplay or whatever it is that you are wanting to record in order to monetize in YouTube? Developers have several different options that they usually offer people. The best one, the one that we are looking for, is where they say, yes, you can record your gameplay and you're allowed to put it on YouTube and you're even allowed to make money from it. And on the other far end, they'll say, no, you can't even record it for personal use. And then there's various degrees in between. So once you've told yourself, okay, this is what I want to be recording, this is what I enjoy doing, the next step is to make sure that you can legally do so and actually profit from it. The two options are, one, you go directly to their official website and start going through the terms and conditions looking for it, and the other is that you Google search it. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to check with Path of Exile, because that's the game that I'm using for this specific course. I'm going to look at their video policy. Once you've put in the name of the game that you're looking for in video policy, you need to make sure that whatever website you're going to is one that is official. You don't want to go to even Steam or something like Polygon or whatever these other ones are. You need to make sure that it's the official page. So let's go ahead and have a look. Okay, this has taken us to the terms of use page for Grinding Gear Games. That's the developers that make Path of Exile. And now we need to look up and see, do we have the rights to actually make videos and make money from them? I like to cheat. I press Ctrl F, bring up the search and just type in YouTube. They don't always do it as easy as this, but if they do, then that's fantastic. So now we see we're under the section recording and streaming gameplay. You'll want to read through this very carefully and make sure that you're abiding by their rules. So once you've found it in whatever you are recording, make sure that you read it very carefully and you need to understand exactly what they're saying. Grinding Gear Games are quite nice. They are giving us what they call a limited license, but basically they're saying that we can go ahead, we can record Path of Exile gameplay and live streaming, and we can post videos on video sharing sites, including, for example, and without limitation, YouTube. So it's nice that they specifically said YouTube, and they go on to say that we can even use advertising content in there, so they will allow us to make money from it. The only reservation seems to be if they tell us to take it down, then we have to take it down, or any alterations. That seems more than fair. So once you've got that and you understand it and they're happy with it, then go ahead, start making your content. But just make sure you do this before you actually do a lot of recording. I know some guys who did some games based on EA games, and they had a lot of issues. Welcome back, content creators. This video is about how to get the screen recording software that we'll be using, called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. If you decide to use other software, that is completely up to you. I find that OBS has very good compression, very good file size, and the quality of recording is absolutely fantastic. Even if you're doing gaming videos and something which requires a lot of CPU usage, OBS is fantastic. Alright, first thing you want to do is load up your web browser and go to google.com, and you can either search for OBS project, or you can just go to your URL bar and put in obsproject.com. In all of my courses, I always try to use free software as much as possible. It's not just for that reason. I have paid for quite a few different pieces of software that can record screens, but I find that open broadcast software works really, really well. Probably better than anything I've paid for or downloaded before. The version we're going to be using is just the regular OBS Classic. We can go ahead and go to download. You can select your operating system if it's Windows, if you're using a Mac system, or even Linux, depending on how you want to say it, and then the different version that you want. For now, we're just going to be using the classic version because we are using it more just to record the screen. Then when you're ready, it's a good idea to download the latest stable version. And you just click Download OBS. This will then start downloading OBS at the bottom here. Once it's finished downloading, you just double click on the file, follow the instructions to get it installed, and make sure you put a link on your desktop. And that's it, folks. In the upcoming videos, we'll be going through all of the settings and how to use OBS, and then we'll actually be using OBS to record our videos. This entire course, I'm using OBS to record, so you can see that it comes out quite well. Welcome back to the course, guys. This series of videos, we're going to be looking at OBS, the Open Broadcast software. It is the software that I use pretty much exclusively for recording everything that I do, from desktop to gaming videos and that sort of thing. There are a lot of settings which are available to you, some of which you don't need at all. So what I've done is I'm going to be recording how to set it up properly and explain how things are going as we go along. Instead of recording one long video, I'm rather going to separate it into small pieces. This will make it easier for you to come back and look at certain sections that you might want to change later on. So let's get going. First of all, I am currently using OBS for recording this exact video, so you guys will know that it works, and I can still view the settings inside. So let's go and have a look. We've got the settings up top here, and we have a few different options on the left. These are the main menus which we're going to go through. The first thing to have a look at is General, and this is very easy. You just simply select the language which you are using the software in. In my case it's English, but there are quite a few different options that have built in, which is a lot more than some of the even paid for programs. So quite simply, just select the language that you want, and what I like to do is I try to keep these notifications off just so I don't have too many things popping up. I already have to worry about Skype and all those other things doing it for me. Let's move on down to encoding. OBS offers you different ways to encode the video while it's recording. You'll see on my screen I have a thing called NVIDIA, NVENC. If you are using a mid-range to high-range NVIDIA card, you will have this built in. If you're using AMD, you'll see something called VCE. They are both very similar in how they work. Basically, your video card has a buffer right before the output signal that goes to your monitor. Now, some of the newer graphics cards, I think it's been out for about a year and a half now, will allow you to take video directly from that buffer and save it to your hard drive. This means that you don't need a very powerful processor, and it takes a lot of strain off your computer. Both NVIDIA's NVENC as well as AMD's VCE works in the same way. So if you do have that option available, then go ahead and use that. If not, then you'll need to use this X264, which is still a very good way to encode video. Sometimes the quality can even be higher. The only drawback is that it uses some of your CPU usage. The next option down here is CBR. This stands for Constant Bitrate. I don't recommend you use this. Basically what it does is it forces your video to use your maximum bitrate at all times. This means that a video could be as large as 2 or 3 gigabytes per minute that you are recording, and you don't actually get a substantial increase in quality. It is very rare that you will ever need to use CBR. Next thing to have a look down is quality balance. This is quite simply, are you going for more quality or are you looking for a smaller video file? If you are recording with the intention of, say, selling an online course, or perhaps you're doing the whole YouTube thing and you're putting up gaming videos or instructable videos, you want as much quality as you can because you can compress your video later after you have edited it. So I generally leave it on 10. Maximum bitrate is quite simply how much bandwidth are you going to allow OBS to create your video with. I've set mine to 64 megabit, which is incredibly high. It'll never actually go that high, but I like the extra headroom. So if I do have very fast moving things happening, if I'm recording high-end gaming videos, that sort of thing, I won't get that nasty compression that you very often see, which makes things quite blocky. Using a custom buffer size in most cases is pointless. You wouldn't want your buffer larger than your maximum bitrate. The custom buffer size, it's very rare that you would ever actually need to use this. Sometimes people like to have a larger buffer, but it doesn't really make a difference. What a buffer is a small piece of memory left aside that sits between the output and wherever it's going to. So it is literally like a memory buffer. It's a piece in between that lets the whole thing become quite smooth. But you'll find that OBS by default, if you don't have used custom buffer size, it automatically sets it to your maximum bitrate, and this is perfect in 99% of situations. Now we look under audio encoding. I generally actually use Audacity to do my recording. As much as I love OBS for recording video, and I think it's fantastic, I find that Audacity seems to record things a little bit better. So it doesn't really matter too much. However, if you do want to have recording at the same time as the video, you'd want to leave the settings on AAC, which is a higher standard than MP3. We're not worried about file size, as long as it's not absolutely ridiculously big, because we want to edit at the highest quality possible, and then we can compress later. So I'm leaving it on AAC, keeping the format at 48 kilohertz, and bitrate at 192, and channel on stereo. Alright, so now we're looking at broadcast settings. OBS has two different options for broadcast settings. The one we will be using is file output only, because the main focus of what we're doing here is so we can make high quality video that we can then edit and then upload either to YouTube to open up a channel and start earning that way, or if you are planning on launching a course like this very one now, you will need to know how to do this. So we're sticking with file output only. But just out of interest, live stream is, let's say you have an account with Twitch TV and you want to start streaming live, whether it be gaming or if you're teaching something and you want people to sign up. OBS can synchronize with Twitch immediately. So we will be recording just straight as a file output only. Replay buffer length, this doesn't really count for us right now. There is a way where OBS can be constantly recording you on your desktop. So that way if something interesting has happened, you can quickly hit a hotkey and it will save that information. We're not going to be using that feature because we are designing purposefully designed videos. Let's go ahead and look at the video settings. First off, your computer may have more than one video adapter running at a time. It's very unlikely though, but if it does, you could select which video adapter you will be using. In my case, I'm using the GeForce GTX 750 Ti, so that's ticked, I know it's working. Good news. The next thing to look at is your base resolution. This should ideally be the same as your monitor. So that way, when you're recording your desktop, everything fits in and it fits nicely. It just makes editing much easier later on and the quality is a lot better. I have two monitors and they both have different resolutions, so I need to put it under custom. But often you can just click monitor and select which monitor and it'll automatically set the base resolution correctly. Resolution downscale is not something we use when we are recording video because we want to keep the resolution as high as possible. If we need to downscale, we can do it after the editing process. This is more if you will be streaming to something like Twitch and you don't have a lot of bandwidth, like me, so you don't want to try and broadcast in HD because you're only going to be broadcasting like 5 frames a second. So in this case, you could choose to downscale your resolution. But for us, we're going to keep it on maximum, which should be the same as your resolution setup here. This filter only comes into play when you are downscaling. I'll show you an example. Here you can select how will your downscaling be filtered, and you can choose between fastest or you can go for best detail. Remember that downscaling will start using up more of your processing power, so avoid it if you can. FPS is quite simply frames per second. At what rate will you be recording your desktop? I typically leave it on 60, although it is a little unnecessary. You can record it on 30, which is fine. Disable aero is something I strongly recommend. This will give more processing power to rather getting good quality video instead of having all these small effects which aren't really that necessary. Now we're going to have a look at the audio settings. You'll see that there are quite a few different settings up here. Firstly, desktop audio device. This is simply the device that you're using to play back through your speakers. As an example, if you're recording gaming videos, you want to record the gaming sounds. That way your videos don't look a little ridiculous. So you would probably leave this under default. You'll see I have a couple different devices here. My Rode NT USB, this is actually what my default device is, so that won't change anything. I also use a virtual audio cable, and I have an onboard, not very good sound card. So I'm going to stick with my Rode NT USB as default. And here you have your microphone inputs, which you can select from. I have a few options here. Just make sure that you are using the correct microphone. This will allow you to record your voice. Although if you are using Audacity, then this is not really necessary because it won't be recording at all. If you are wanting to use your microphone, but not leave it open the whole time due to background noise and that sort of thing, you can use a feature called push to talk, which is you set a key on your keyboard that whenever you press it, it will open up your microphone and allow you to start recording. Then as soon as you let go of the key, your microphone closes again. A lot of people have the habit of letting go of the key a little bit too early, which cuts out the end of their word. And you don't want this. You want people to hear the entire word that you're speaking. So it's not a bad idea to put a little bit of a delay in there. This means that when I let go of the key, there will be a 200 millisecond delay before the microphone actually shuts off. Desktop boost is if you want to increase the recording level of sounds coming out of your speakers. Anything that your desktop creates, if I put this up, it'll start recording the desktop louder, and 1 is default, which is usually fine. Microphone boost is the same idea. If you want to boost the level of your microphone recording, you simply put this up. And microphone sync offset. If you want to delay the time of your microphone recording, this is where you'd set it. Let's go ahead and have a look at the hotkeys. Hotkeys are buttons that you can use to trigger different functions within OBS. We are not streaming in this course, so we'll stick to the ones that are more useful for us. The first one up top is push to talk. I set it as my tilde, which is the button to the left of your number 1 key, because I don't use push to talk very often in OBS, but I do still need it. There is a very good little trick that I find that helps me synchronize my recorded video with my recorded sound, even though I'm using different software to record the sound, and that requires push to talk. You'll see that in a video coming up a bit later in the course. Push to talk 2 is just an alternative button for it, which I don't need. Here we can mute or unmute the microphone, which is unnecessary because it's already muted by default when I'm not using my push to talk button. Now, if you were streaming to Twitch TV or something like that, you might want to have a hotkey that allows you to start and stop the stream. I don't do streaming, but I do a lot of recording. So what I've done is I've set Control plus 1, meaning if I press the Control key and 1 at the same time, OBS will automatically start recording. If I press Control and 2, it stops recording. So this allows me to stop and start it without needing to Alt-Tab out the whole time. I don't use a replay buffer, but if it is something that you'd like to look into later on, you could easily set a hotkey here as well. Replay buffer is OBS will be constantly recording the last 1 minute or 30 seconds or however long you've set the buffer for. So if something interesting has happened and your replay buffer has been running, you can just click on the Save Replay Buffer and it will save the last 30 seconds or 1 minute or however long you've set the replay buffer for. Now let's tackle the advanced options. Starting at the top, under the general setting of advanced options, we have use multi-threaded optimizations. This is useful for less than powerful CPUs, and if we set the process priority class to high, it helps us make sure that we have smooth video. You'll find that people are generally okay with not having the highest in-game graphics, as long as the video is smooth and fun to watch. It's a lot better. When you're just doing desktop recording, you shouldn't really have that much of an issue, but just in case, I set mine to process priority class high. We have an option here, disable encoding while previewing. I don't do that because when I'm previewing with OBS, it's trying to show me how is it going to record. If I disable encoding, then it frees up a lot of CPU space and my preview will look a lot better than the actual recording, so I leave it. We're going to allow other modifiers and hotkeys. This will let us use all of the hotkeys that we have set at any time. If you remember earlier, we were looking at the encoding options. You'll see here I have NVENC. This is because I'm using an NVIDIA graphics card, and I can select what preset that I want to record the video at. Because I'm not streaming, I'm sticking with high quality, so I will have slightly larger file sizes but better quality video. Encoding priority is also set to high. A keyframe interval of 2 seconds seems to be the standard that people use, and it works very well. It means every 2 seconds your video that you're recording will have a new keyframe. So if there have been any buffering issues or any kind of encoding issues, it'll be reset every 2 seconds. CFR is constant frame rate. It's a very useful feature for quite a few different reasons. Basically, it forces the output to constantly push out the same frames per second to keep things as consistent as possible. This solves a lot of problems that people have had in the past with OBS and other software that caused their webcams to desync with their recordings. Not to be confused earlier with CBR. So what used to happen in the old days is you'd be recording at say 30 frames per second, and you would have a webcam recording at say 24 frames per second. And you'd notice that after a minute or two, you'd start getting a desync where the webcam is no longer recording at the same rate as the software. So by using CFR, we're forcing it to record at 60 frames per second, even if it is unnecessary. It just helps a lot with synchronizing later on. Encode in full range. Okay, this is a little technical. Each color on your PC is created from red, green, and blue. These colors are all blended together in different quantities to give you whatever color you desire. In full range, each of these 3 colors can have a value from 0 to 255. Generally speaking, we only use 16 to 235. So if that is unchecked, then you are using the slightly limited amount. This is extremely rare to notice, and honestly, full range can cause a lot of issues with various drivers, so it's just simply not worth it. I've only ever played one game which was so dark that I needed to use those bottom 15 levels. Allow 61 to 120 FPS entry in video settings. Currently, the vast majority of people watch in 30 frames per second. YouTube do offer up to 60 frames per second, but due to the increased bandwidth, it is still not very common. So to go higher than 60 frames per second right now does not make a lot of sense. But if you really wanted to, then you would need to tick this box. Under audio, we will be syncing our own audio with the methods I will teach you shortly, so we will not be needing any of these settings at all. Network. These settings are only used if you are using some sort of capture device across a network and you are having issues getting it to sync correctly. We will be recording everything on our local PC, so we don't need to fiddle with those settings either. Quick Sync Encoder. This area is specifically for the Intel chipset graphics cards. Remember, this is different from your normal CPU. A lot of lower end PCs and laptops have these built in. They're typically underperforming chips, so you'll most likely will not be able to record high-end games. If you are using one, I strongly recommend you try a few settings. Firstly, don't use CBR as your file size will be astronomical. VBR, variable bitrate, is fine. Target kilobits per second, or kbps, will ultimately affect the quality. If you are recording desktop apps without a lot of movement, then lower kilobits per second is fine, but as soon as there is a lot of movement, you will start wanting more assigned. Max kilobits per second is a hard limit on how much bandwidth you will be using. It's not so necessary with recording regular desktop applications, but if you are looking at something with a lot of movement in games, you might want to have a limit just to try and keep the file size a little low. If you are planning on streaming, then you would definitely want to set this to a little bit lower than whatever your upload speed is. Let's have a look at the microphone noise gate. A noise gate, and not just in OBS, is an electronic device or piece of software that is used to control the volume of an audio signal by attenuating signals that register below a threshold. In simple English, it stops recording very soft sounds. So it turns your mic on when you speak and turns it off when you're quiet. The major flaw with noise gates is that it very often cuts off the end of your sentence because people have a habit of getting softer at the end of it. Also, if you have the threshold set quite high, then you can sometimes hear an audible click when it turns on. This can be mitigated somewhat by changing the settings. Attack time is how quickly the noise gate will respond to volume above the threshold. Basically, how quickly it turns on the microphone. Too quick and you get the click, too slow and you cut off the first sound in a word. Hold time is how long the mic will remain on after the volume has dropped below the threshold. Too high and you'll get loads of the noise you're trying to hide. Too quick and your speech will sound jittery. Release time is how long it takes for the mic to mute again. I cannot give you exact settings for this. These settings differ from person to person, how much background noise you have, what mic you're using, and so forth. Luckily for you, we won't be needing it, so you don't need to enable it. Scene switching is not a plugin that we will be using. However, if you did want to have multiple scenes, monitors, webcams, different feeds, then you would want to switch between them on the fly, then this is what you would use. OBS is currently overhauling this plugin completely, which might make it more useful, but for now we're recording one scene at a time. Hi guys, welcome back to the course. Alright, so now we've gone through all the kind of boring stuff on how to set up the back end and all the different settings inside OBS, but now we actually want to use it to record something. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay, we're having a look at the front end of OBS once it's open. Obviously I can't show you not recording because I'm busy using it to record. So yours will just simply show a black screen, and you also won't have anything under here for sources. Sources are basically what is OBS going to be recording. And they have a fantastic option where you can select multiple things at the same time, superimpose them. You can even use transparency. So if you have a webcam and you want to not have your whole background, you could set up your own private green screen and select green, and it'll make it totally transparent. So what I'm going to be showing you is how to add different sources and what they're actually going to do. Simply in the sources area down here, you can right click and go to add. Now you get different options here. One is window capture. That means you'll capture a particular window that you have open instead of the entire monitor. What I'm using at the moment, as you can see that it is ticked, is I'm using monitor capture. So I can capture everything. So you can see everything that's happening on my primary monitor. You could even impose an image on top, which I will show you in a minute. You could have an image slideshow, which is a whole series of images that'll slowly change. Then global source, this is something that I've set up because I've done a lot of Warframe videos for various other people, and it's one of my go-to things to record. The next would be text, if you want to put it on top. A video capture device is if you have like a video capture card. Let's say you're recording consoles and you purchase one of those external capture cards. OBS can quite comfortably integrate that into your recording system as well. Game capture is designed specifically to capture games as well. We won't really be needing to do that because the way that we do it, we capture everything else that we need. So the first thing that you'd want to play with is a monitor capture. And all you have to do is select monitor capture. You can give it a name. In my case, I've got monitor capture 2 because I'm busy capturing my second monitor that's 1080p. So that's what I've named it. I'm not going to add another one, but you should definitely add the first one here. Once you have it, you can go ahead and click on preview stream. When you click on it, then you should see in your main area, this is what it is busy recording. You can right click on it and go to properties, and it'll bring up all sorts of other properties that you can capture. If you only have one monitor, then you will only have one option for you to be able to capture. Capture mouse cursor, this is up to you. If you want to show it, you can or you can't. It's totally up to you. I don't really capture layered windows. This is when you have multiple layers on top of each other and it shows using that arrow functionality where everything is slightly transparent. I prefer to just capture what we're focusing on. It drops the CPU usage quite a bit and it also makes it cleaner. Everything here is basically done. We're not going to be using color key here. I will show you that when we add an image. So then you click OK. And you should have your monitor being captured right up here. If you did want to add an image, what you can do is you right click, you go to add, and you select image. Then you can give it an image name. I'm going to call this one SBG logo. This is for Stevie B Gaming logo, and I'm going to select OK. Now, once you have clicked OK, you get this option here. You can browse to where you've saved the image. I have quite a few images that I like to superimpose, as you can see, and I'm looking for this one over here. Now what I did is I just created a simple thing that just says Stevie B Gaming on it, just more as an option. So I'm going to click OK, and you'll see that it's automatically ticked it. If I untick it, it'll go away, and if I tick it again, it's there. Now obviously, I don't want it to be so big. So what I can do is click on Edit Scene, and now you'll see that we have this red border going around it. If I click on the background, it'll then select this, and I can start moving things around and changing it as I want. So in this case, this Stevie B Gaming, I'm going to put it further down, and I'm going to squash it. Just like that. However, if you had another picture and you don't have a transparent background, you can build that in. I'm going to show you by changing the image that I'm using. And let's say we are doing a video on, I don't know, Lara Croft. So we want a picture of Tomb Raider. I can go ahead and let's choose this one here. And under color key, what we can do is we're now going to set a color to be transparent. It's automatically white. You can click on select and then use your dropper to choose which color you want to be invisible. But my image, white, is perfect. That's what I want to be invisible. And I can click OK. And now we have my Lara Croft. And I was wrong. It's not white. It's supposed to be black. So I just right click, go back to properties, select, and now I'm going to click over here. This is a dropper that's going to pick up the color. And then I click OK. And as you can see, I now have Lara Croft where everything that was black is transparent. So it's going to take a bit of time to find the right image that will actually work nicely for you. I'm going to stick to my SPG logo for now. And I'm going to pop it down there. Let's make it a little bit smaller, shall we? There we go. So now I have my main window that's being recorded, and I have my main monitor that's being recorded. Now if I was to play a game, because I'm recording the entire monitor, anything that appears on here will be recorded. I'll show you the kind of quality that you can get out of it with this setting. I already have Warframe loaded. It might not be a game you're interested in. If it doesn't even have to be a game, it can be absolutely anything that you want. In actual fact, let me show off. I have a second monitor which makes life easier. It's not necessary, but it is nice. I'm going to show you another option here. If I right click, go to add, I'm now going to select a window. It's going to bring up windows that I have active over here. So these are windows that OBS is able to record. I can only choose Audacity. I'm going to select inner window, so it's not going to record the outer edges of the window, and click OK. Now you'll actually see, as I'm speaking, this is what Audacity is doing. I can go ahead and I can resize it. I could put it in the background. I could even go to this, click on properties. I'm going to use a color key, select, and choose this, and click OK. Now you'll see that this section that was here before is now transparent. Obviously this looks a little bit ridiculous, so we're not going to be using this for the actual recording. Here is some gameplay. I'm going to load up Warframe. Let me just move this up to the side. And now you can see that we have Warframe up and running. It seems to be recording fine. On my monitor that I'm watching, I cannot see the StevieB Gaming logo, but I can see that it is being recorded. So here you could run around and kill stuff and talk about the game, show off, do whatever it is that you want to do. And that, folks, is the easiest way to go ahead and record your screen. Now remember, if you've used the settings that I gave you before and your PC can handle it, which most of yours should be able to, then your recording quality will be quite high. Welcome back, YouTube content creators. I've had quite a few questions through the message system, people asking how do you get a webcam set up inside your gaming videos. So what I've done is I'm making a little preview here. I'm using Minecraft as a game because it's incredibly popular. It's also a lot of fun to play. I think there's over 47 billion people, or over 47 billion views on Minecraft videos, and that's a statistic from 2014. So I'm sure that number is a lot higher now. What I've done is I am still running Audacity and I'm still using OBS exactly the same as before, but now I've added a webcam to it. I'm going to click over to my right screen so you can see the setup, and you'll see how I'm actually recording right now. There we go. This is what my right hand monitor looks like as we speak. You can see that I have OBS on the right hand side and I have the webcam in here. I'm looking sideways because I'm looking at the other monitor. On the left hand side I have Audacity, so I can edit the audio a bit later, get the compression, noise removal, and keep it separate from the game sounds. Now I'm going to switch back to the main screen so you can see how it works. There we go. Now we're inside the game. We're talking about Minecraft and all that fun, lovely stuff. This is just a little creative thing that I was working on. Planning on putting out a little server for some of the kids to play on. Just needed a main hall. So yeah, you go ahead, you talk about the game, you look around, and you show off all the fantastic, wonderful things. And the whole time you are on camera. So make sure you look up every now and then, but not too much or it starts getting a bit freaky. You certainly don't want those kind of awkward moments. Alrighty, and that's it. That's all there is to it. It's a wonderful thing about OBS is you can just overlay it. Here, I'll show you the screen again. So here's the screen that we're looking at. I could move the webcam device to underneath the monitor itself just by moving it down. And now you can't see the webcam at all. When I put it on top, there I am. Yay! Same thing for the various monitor captures. I find if I am running too many capture devices, it does start using a bit of processing power, so you want to avoid that. So I wouldn't usually have the right and the left monitor recording at the same time. So let's turn this back off, and now we can watch a beautiful sunset. The next piece of software we're going to be using is called Audacity. This is what I use to record my voice as well as anything else that I actually need to record in. I also find a lot of the features in Audacity, such as noise removal and so on, is very, very good. So it's nice to give your audio a bit of a cleanup before you actually import it into the video. All of this is covered in upcoming videos. You know how to get the best possible sound out of your microphone. Alright, it's called Audacity. So go on over to Google and type in Audacity. There we are, we have Audacity, and you'll see the very top link should be this one here, audacityteam.org, and this will bring up the Audacity website. What you need to do next is just click on Download Audacity. You will then be given an option of what operating system you're using. This is available for Mac. I don't believe there are any significant differences between the two. I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to download Audacity for Windows. Now you get the option of having an installer or a zip file. I personally prefer to use an installer. It does everything for you, and the fact that it has a help files can be useful later on. Obviously, everything that I use in my video creation I will discuss. You will see how everything is done, but the software is very powerful, so you might find that you want to play around with some other more advanced features. The help file will definitely help. So go ahead and grab the installer. And after clicking on this, you see I get this pop-up because I have ad blockers on, and Audacity will be downloading here. Once that's finished, all you need to do is click in it and just follow the installer. Once again, try to have your desktop icon set so it's easy to find. Put it right next to your OBS icon because we'll be using both at the same time. Welcome back, content creators. This video I'm going to be showing you how you can quickly clean up your audio and try and get a bit more out of it, as well as hide a lot of the things in the background that you don't really want around. What I've done is I've recorded a WAV file. I've left mistakes in there, I've allowed the dogs to bark in the background, all sorts of things like that. And I'm going to show you a few tricks on how you can clean it up and edit it. For now, I'm first going to play it back for you unedited so you can hear everything, warts and all. Well, hello content creators. This WAV file is purely so that I can make my next video. I'm going to be showing you how to edit cough 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 splatter splatter. I'm going to be showing you how to edit in Audacity so that you can get a final good recording. Okay, let's have a look at that. Now, let's say that we first want to get rid of that bit of fan noise in the background. I know it's a little tricky to hear that it's there, but any one of you with headphones and the volume turned up, you should hear that fan noise. Here, I'll play a section of it. Well, hello, content. Even if you can't hear it, you'll see that it's being picked up on this bar over here. The first feature we're going to be using is noise removal. It's very good at removing noises that are sort of long and repetitive, so, well, hopefully you don't think that's like my voice. So things like fan noise and so on is very good. The first thing you want to do is select an area where you remained quiet for a bit. You will soon get into the habit of staying quiet for a little bit just so your mic can pick up the background noise for this in the future. So here I can see is a section where I've been quiet, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, and I'm going to play it back and just make sure that we are actually picking up some background noise. Yeah, I can see the mic is picking it up. So once it's highlighted, you're going to go across to Effect, then look for Noise Removal, and here we're going to get the noise profile. This has allowed Audacity to go ahead and pick up the noise profile from that area, because we're saying that everything in that area is noise. It's not speech, so we want that kind of sound removed. Then we're going to unhighlight, and you can just do that by clicking anywhere. We go back to Effect, back to Noise Removal, and now just click OK. It's very quick for such a small file, but if it's like a 20-30 minute long video, it could take a lot longer. Now let's play it back and see if it's removed that noise. Well, hello content creators. This WAV file is purely so that you see, it's removed most of the noise without affecting the quality of the audio itself. Well, hello content creators. The next thing that we want to do, because we can see that the audio has some spikes and it has some big dips and that sort of thing, is we want to smooth that out a little bit. You don't want everything completely flat, because that gets very, very boring, but we don't need such a huge dynamic range. So the next thing we're going to do is go back to Effect and then select Compressor. You find that the bass settings are generally very good for it, so I first suggest that you just leave it as it is, click OK, and see if you're happy with how it sounds. You'll see here that it has expanded the waveforms quite a lot, but it has also smoothed out the overall feel. There is still some dynamic range, but it is more consistent across the board. Let's have a listen. Well, hello content creators. This WAV file is purely so that I can make my next video. I'm going to be showing you how to edit cough, 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 splatter, splatter. I'm going to be showing. Great, it's working. Now, let's cut out the bits that we don't need, because I just want one good sounding sentence out of this whole thing, and then I'll consider it a success. So, let's first get rid of the beginning part that we don't want. I did that by clicking and dragging to highlight a section, then I hit the delete button. It automatically pulls it out and then slides everything back. So let's listen to where we started making the mistake now. Well, hello content creators. This WAV file is purely so that I can make my next video. I'm going to be showing you how to edit cough, 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 splatter, splatter. I'm going to be showing you how to edit. Alright, so I tried that sentence 3 times. First time I had that very, very fake coughing fit. Second time it just sounded a bit wrong. So what I did is I just paused and I breathed, collected myself, and then continued with the sentence. This allows me to come back and correct things in edit. So let's find the first time that started. I'm going to be showing you how to and make my next video. I'm going to be showing you. So it seems to be about from this point. And I'm going to click and drag this area. We're going to kill it all. Now let's have a listen and see how that break sounds now. Can make my next video. I'm going to be showing you how to edit in Audacity so that you can get a final good recording. Alright, now things like dogs barking in the background, as you heard in this area here, it's not very easy to actually remove that sound, but let's see what Audacity can do. Okay, so we had bark, bark, bark. Let's highlight this area. Get noise profile again. Now we're going to unhighlight and apply noise removal across the board. You see it has seemed to have removed it somewhat. Let's see if it's gone completely. It's barely audible. Now let's listen to the rest and make sure that it hasn't altered the quality of sound, so that you can get a final good recording. I'm still happy with how that sounds. That was just to show you that Audacity can even remove a fair amount of dogs barking in the background. And whenever you select an area and get a noise profile and then apply it to the whole range, it's actually going through and it's scooping out those certain frequencies from the entire audio track. So if you have a constant fan noise from your computer, it will remove it from the entire audio track. But we don't need this end piece, so I'm going to go and cut this off. And now let's give a listen to the entire thing and see if we're happy. Well, hello content creators. This WAV file is purely so that I can make my next video. I'm going to be showing you how to edit in Audacity so that you can get a final good recording. And that's it, folks. Really, if you want better vocals, you don't need a whole lot of effects. You certainly don't need reverb and delays and things like that. The two most important things is noise removal and compression. So now you need to build up a collection of music that you can actually use in your videos. You'll find that if you use like a popular track that's on the radio at the moment, it will upload to YouTube. And then after about half an hour, maybe half a day, you'll get a copyright notice. Worst case, you will get a strike against your account, which starts limiting what you can and cannot do on YouTube. Multiple strikes in your account can get blocked. If you push your luck even after that, it can be banned permanently, lose AdSense, all sorts of things like that. Best case scenario, they say, yes, this is copyrighted information. However, the people who own the copyright will allow you to use it, but you can't make money from it. So that kind of defeats the purpose. The best type of music is free, open source, and music that does not require you to even attribute the music to the author. YouTube have quite a large collection of music that you can go through, which falls into that category. And this is what I'm going to show you. You go back to your YouTube, you make sure you're logged in. Once again, we are going to the Creator Studio. And under Creator Studio, hey, we just hit the 100 mark. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, back to reality. Under Creator Studio, we're going to go across to Create. And we shall see here, we have all of this music which it's listing up. Now, some of the music requires you to attribute the artist, and that can get in the way of your video. It means that whenever the song comes on, you need to, inside your video, say who the track is by and information like that. If you're fine with that, then great, that's a fantastic thing to do. For me, I find it detracts a bit from the videos that I'm making. So I go to Attribution over here, and I select Attribution Not Required. This will automatically only list music which there is no attribution required. Now you can just go through and start listening to songs and seeing what you want, like let's just try this one. And you can make a decision and see if this is something you would actually like to use. If you want to use this and edit it, you can click on download here. And it will actually download the song, and then all you have to do is take that song and put it into whatever editing software you're using. Simple as that. If you're looking for a specific kind of music, you can use the search feature up here. So if you're looking for something more rock related, you could just choose rock or dance electronic. You can even select a mood and go for, I don't know, inspirational. That's usually the really cheesy stuff. And you could take it even further. You could look for longer tracks or shorter tracks or whatever the case may be. Do it by instrument, or you could click on search here. So here we go. I've got dance electronic, chosen inspirational, and I'm going to choose one here. This is the popularity bar. Very small bar means it's not that popular. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not popular. And you could click play. Give it a listen. If you like it, download it, put it in your video. I actually think I used that one myself. Let's have a look at this one. And so on and so forth. Yeah, you basically go through, find a collection of music that you like. I recommend downloading it and putting it all in one place, so next time you're looking for music, you don't have to go online, you can just pull out that directory. Welcome back to the course, everybody. Okay, there's a problem that a lot of people can fall into if you don't have the right codecs, or sometimes your video software just simply doesn't want to import the video that you want, and you get an error like this. Let me show you. I'm going to click Import Media, and I'm going to choose the video that I want to be editing, and I'm going to click OK or Open. And it gives you various errors. It'll usually say something along the lines of unsupported media type. This means that the software you're using is unable to edit the video that you've just recorded. Now don't despair, there is a way to convert it using a wonderful piece of software called Handbrake. It's also free, so you won't have to pay for anything there. And let me show you where you can find it. If you go to www.handbrake.fr, you will get this website over here. And you just click to download. I believe it does cover other platforms like it says over here. It's completely free, and from all of the software that I've used to convert videos, this one seems to keep the quality the best, as well as makes the video files remarkably small. Now once you've downloaded and installed it, you will then have this up here, and quite simply what you want to do is once it's loaded, you're going to click on Source, you choose File, and then browse to wherever you have saved your video that you want to convert. In this case, I've put it over here, so just select it and click Open. Now once it's done analyzing and everything, it's going to ask for a destination. So I'm just going to put this somewhere a little bit separate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it in the same directory. I've just browsed to that directory over here, and I'm going to rename it. I'm going to keep the original name just so I can compare the video quite easily, and I'm just going to select AH for after Handbrake, and then with a space like that, and I'm going to click Save. So now that's where it's going to save the video that we're converting. Now we can just quickly run through the settings. Because I don't want to downgrade the video in any way, I just want to convert it so it's easier to use in Camtasia or any editing software that you want to use. So I'm not going to be changing any of the sizes or anything like that. Nothing needs to change on filters. Video codec H.264. This is the algorithm that it's going to use to compress it. It's very common. It's very good. I think that's mostly why people are going to be using it quite a lot. And then you can adjust the quality here. If you go into the far left, it's very low quality, which is actually quite bad. If you sort of towards the right, then it's very good. And all the way to the very top, they say that it's lossless compression, which means that it's going to be a very big file. That's not the end of the world, but we don't need a massive file. So I'm just going to scale it back a little bit, and that should still be very good. We don't need a set average bitrate. It'll do all of that for us. And in fact, we are ready to go. So I'm going to click on Start. And now it's running. You'll see at the bottom here, it's giving you the stats on how quickly it's going and telling you more or less how long it's going to be. So time remaining, this is going to take me about 2 minutes. I'm going to skip this part of the video so you don't have to sit here bored out of your minds. Okay, the last job is finished. That means that the video is done. So I'm going to close this up here. Alright, so now that it's finished converting, there's one more thing that you might need to change. Sometimes your software can import directly M4V files, but one thing about Camtasia is it can be a little bit annoying with the file extension. So all we're going to do is we're now going to change the file extension. What you want to do is go back to the folder where you have saved your audio and video files, and you'll see here we have the new one, AH, and then you'll see it's the same number as above, but it's .m4v. It is an MP4 video, everything is identical, it's just the extension that's changed. So I'm going to change that to MP4. And now I'm going to import it into Camtasia. Here we go, Camtasia can read it, no problems. Let's just drop it into our track list over here and see if it plays. Looks like the video is good and ready to be edited. Next video, I'm going to show you how to synchronize the video with audio. Welcome back, content creators. In the video that I'm going to be using as an example of what to upload and how to get some views on it, I've made that hideout video that I've discussed before. I've recorded approximately 2 hours of gameplay, which is how long it took me to actually build the hideout. Now, I can't expect people to watch the entire thing, so what I like to do is speed it up a lot. 2 hours I'll probably bring down to 15 minutes. It looks pretty cool, add some good music to it and a bit of an introduction, and it works very nicely. One problem that I found with Camtasia is that you can only increase the speed by 300% each time. So what I had to do in the past was increase it by 300%, then produce that file. Then import that file and increase it again by 300% and produce that file. Then import it again, and so on until I get it to the right length. Windows Movie Maker is not necessarily the best software out there, but I do find that how it can speed up files is very, very nice. What I'm going to do is import the gameplay into Windows Movie Maker. I'm going to show you how I speed it up. Then I'm going to produce that file and take that into Camtasia. I know it's a longer way around it. It sounds a bit too much like hard work, but this really is the easiest way to do it. So the first thing you want to do is look for your Movie Maker. You can click your start button and just type in movie, and you should find Movie Maker. If you don't have it, then what you need to do is install Windows Live Essentials. You should see a link like this one, which will take you through and allow you to install Windows Live Essentials. Movie Maker is one of these essentials. Once you have it up and loaded in front of you, on the right hand side we can go ahead and put things in here. You can either click in it, or you can just open up your file browser, click and drag the files across. So I've got it all here. These are the 3 files that are recorded for the gameplay. In total it's 159, so just under 2 hours. It is 7.5 gigs, so it's going to take a long time for the converting to happen. So I'm going to highlight all 3, I'm going to click and just drop it here. You'll see that when Movie Maker first loads, it'll give you a pop-up saying Movie Maker is preparing your files. If you look at the bottom left down here, it actually shows you how the progress is going. If it can't edit the file, it will automatically convert it before you start editing it. Because it's 7.5 gigs and 2 hours of video, this is going to take a while. I'm not going to expect you to sit here and watch this, so I'm going to stop the video now. When it's done, we'll finish it off. So, as you can see, it is finally finished processing. Now I'll be able to edit this inside Movie Maker, but I do find Camtasia's editing is a lot better, so all I'm going to be doing is using this to speed up. In order to speed up a clip, you just need to make sure that it is highlighted. I'm going to zoom out. So these are the 3 clips in varying lengths, going up to 2 hours. What I'm going to do is now speed up each one. So I'm going to select the first clip, and under Video Tools you select Edit, and now you can change the speed. I'm going to start off with 16 times and do the same to the following and the final clip. Now I can quickly see that the total length of the new video is going to be 7 minutes 28. That's a little bit shorter than what I was hoping for, so I think I might actually slow it down a bit and adjust the speed. Right, I've adjusted the speed. It's now a little under 15 minutes. That seems perfect. That's what I'm hoping to get. So now that I'm happy with the time and I've adjusted the speed, what I need to do is get this saved as a movie file, which I can then import into Camtasia or whatever program you're using, and use this as the bulk piece. Click on Home, go on over to Save Movie, and we want this to be the highest possible quality so we can compress things at the end. If I select for high definition display, this should be rather large, but that's fine because it's still only going to be about 150 to 200 megs per minute. So I'm going to select for high definition display, and then I'm going to choose where I'm going to be saving it. And now it's gonna sit and chug along. I'm not gonna make you watch this, I'll show you the results when it's done. Welcome back all you future YouTube content creators. I promised you earlier on in the course that I would show you a very good way on how you can record your voice separately and separate it from the desktop sounds. Now, as I pointed out before, I like to use Audacity. I find the recording quality is absolutely fantastic. So, I'm gonna show you this little trick. Remember in settings, we had an area where we could set hotkeys over here. And I set the tilde as a push to talk option, which means a microphone is only going to record when I push that key. So you can look on my OBS window, there is no green line, so I'm not recording anything except for here. It's recording my desktop sounds, which at the moment is this game in the background, Path of Exile. So what I do is I press the tilde key, I keep quiet, and I just make a ticking sound. You could tap on your desk, tap on the mic, anything that's not too loud but very visible. You could even just click your fingers like this. And as you can see on Audacity, I actually have these lines that are built up here. Now when I import this video from OBS into Camtasia or whatever editing software you're using, you will also be able to see the same audio lines, and it makes it visually so easy for you just to line it up. I'm going to end this video now, and the next video I'm going to show you how I actually edited the whole thing together. Hi guys, welcome back to the course. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I do the actual lineup inside Camtasia. This should work in just about any video editing software that you have out there, but do remember Camtasia does have a 30-day free trial just so you can check it out. But I'm not going to be using anything that's specific to Camtasia. So the technique should work in almost any video editing software, as long as you can clearly see the waveform of the video as well as the waveform of the MP3 that you're going to be importing. First thing you're going to do is we are going to import our video as well as audio. So here's the video file that I'm going to be bringing in. If you have a problem with Camtasia importing your video file, make sure you've watched the video on how to use Handbrake to convert. So there's my video file. And I'm going to be using my edited audio file, which is just a bit cleaned up. Once again, make sure you've watched the video on how to edit it so you can get the clearest possible sound from your mic. Next step is I'm going to be dumping the video file into my track. And I'm going to be giving the audio a track as well. Now, this video that I've recorded, once I've edited, you will be able to watch the whole thing as well. And what I did is I set up those 3 ticking sounds later on. You should have watched this video that I'm busy editing already. And this one is showing you how it actually works within Camtasia. If you remember, I had those 3 clicking sounds where I clicked my fingers and I was using that to help me line up. Now I can clearly see in Camtasia that here are the 3 clicks on the audio and here are the 3 clicks on the video. So if I line that up, it should be just right. Now that looks pretty lined up. Most software like Camtasia, you can zoom in just to make sure you get it as close as possible. And now you can see that I'm slightly off. People probably wouldn't even pick that up, but just to be as close as we can. There we go. That is very, very close. You can then click play and you will hear that they won't be perfectly lined up, but they'll be so close that no one will notice any difference. I mean, that's a couple milliseconds. And just to confirm, you can zoom out and watch another section of the video. Background Path of Exile. So what I do is I press, and as you can see, it's all synchronized. And that way I get to use Audacity, which has amazing audio quality, and I can keep my game volume or desktop volume separate. This will allow me to adjust it. In the next video, I'll show you how I'm going to edit this and adjust the volume and a few final steps in Camtasia just to make sure that the levels are all correct. Welcome back, content creators. I reviewed my decision on whether or not I would actually do the whole recording of this specific video, but there are going to be quite a few tricks that I'm using in it that I think would be very good for you guys to learn. It's really just how I can sort of polish things up. Now, what I've done for this video is I first recorded an introduction. This is more for the people who play the game and watch it on YouTube, but I'm including it here so you can see how it works. And then I have that time-lapse video. If you remember the previous videos that we had, I showed you how I combined it, sped it up, and then exported it using Windows Movie Maker. I have imported it here. And then this is the audio, which I used Audacity to record, and this is the video for the introduction. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be lining up. If you have a look down here, you'll see that this is the WAV file, just pure audio, and this is the file with the desktop sounds. So first thing I'm going to do is line it up and make sure that we are actually in sync with the audio. And you have seen this before, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. Okay, that's very close. That should be close enough. The next thing is I can see quite clearly that this is all just nonsense and me setting up, because this is where I start talking. So I'm going to get rid of all of that nonsense. I'm highlighting the area up to about here, and I'm just going to split all. And now I'm going to delete this because this is trash. The only reason I needed it was to line up the video. So it's gone. Then I'm going to take this and slide it to the very beginning. So now when people watch the video, it'll start off here. Welcome back, content creators. Alright, so now we've welcome back, content creators. And now you can hear that I fluffed it with that, that recording of the audio. So I'm going to get rid of that section as well. And now back to the beginning. Welcome back, content creators. So now we've looked at the settings of OBS, how to set up a recording. I've showed you the cool synchronizing trick and how to get your audio different and get your levels right and all of that. So now we actually need to put it together and record a video. Because the object of this course is that I'm going to be what I'm doing now is I'm listening through for mistakes that I may have made. There's one or two little things, but they should be fine. Sometimes you need a cough, sometimes you need a sneeze, sometimes an airplane flies over, something like that. And what I do in that point is I stop moving the mouse and I just keep kind of quiet and I wait for the noise to go by. And that means when I come back to editing, I can then go ahead and just remove that section. So people don't have to listen to all this nonsense and they don't get too bored. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Opening up a new YouTube channel from scratch. I'm not going to show off my existing one because that's a little unrealistic. I want to show you from the absolute beginning, hopefully get our first 5 or 10 subscribers and first couple hundred views so you can see how to get going in this from the very beginning. So I'm going to be recording a video. It's a type of video that I've done before that's done quite well. In this particular game, you can create and design your own hideouts. This is a hideout. It's sort of my own little private area that only I can get to, unless I allow clanmates and friends and that sort of thing. And what I did is, like you see there, I'm not quite happy with that gap. I think it breaks the feeling of the conversation. So I'm going to select that area like this. And I can just simply cut. I have a button over here. You may be using other software, quite likely you are, but you should still have a cut option. If you don't, then what you would do is you'd split the audio into 2 pieces, delete it and shift it. But a cut option is a lot better, because watch. It just slices it out and automatically puts it across. And now I'm going to listen to that area and see if it sounds better and if I have anything wrong with it. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to this area, have a listen, and see if this cut is noticeable and if it actually does sound better. Friends and that sort of thing. And what I did is I started a new one, totally blank, and I built it up from scratch. And then I sped up the video to approximately 27 times, so it looked like stop motion, and it did quite well. So I'm going to be recording another one of these. I will show you a few tricks on how I sped everything up inside the editing as we go along, and then I'm going to use this video in a brand spanking new channel to upload. We'll then be looking at, for whatever reason I got quiet there, so again we don't want that kind of break, so I'm selecting the quiet area like this and I'm going to cut. And now I'll go back and listen and make sure that that cut isn't very noticeable. New channel to upload. We'll then be looking at how to get your first couple of views on there, hopefully get a couple subscribers on there as well. So this video I'm about to record is going to be the one that we're going to test. Now remember, it doesn't have to be for gaming. This could be any topic which you're passionate about, which you know a lot about, and anything that you'd actually like to do on a daily basis. Because remember, consistency is key. And that sounded like I timed out. So let's just make sure. Okay, I haven't said anything after that. This is where I stop the recording of the audio, and this is where the video ends. Because we're now going to be adding the time lapse, I just need to find the area where I get quiet. Consistency is key. There. So now I'm quiet. We'll give it an extra second just so it feels like a smoother transition. Going to split all. So this is now separating everything down in this column. I can select these two areas which are not trash and get rid of them. The next part of this video is going to be the time-lapse file that I have here. So I'm just going to drop it in like this and make sure it's all smoothed in. Now, I didn't record any audio during this. This is really just people watching how it plays, and that's going to be a little bit boring. So I'm going to need to put in some music, just to try and keep it a bit alive. And because it's a very fast playing video, you see how the character runs around and everything like that. Because it's a very fast playing video, what I need to do is add some fast music. I have quite a bit of music saved in my library already. This is all music which, here under this section it says music down here. This is all music provided by Camtasia. I know it reasonably well. I don't think there is anything here that would really suit what I'm looking for. YouTube has a lot of music. You'll see I have a video on how to get the music from YouTube that you can use. You just need to make sure you have the right license and that sort of thing. A lot of music, you don't need anything, and that's what this is a collection of. This is more electronic kind of dubstep stuff for the gaming videos that I produce. I'm going to test out a few tracks and just see what it sounds like. That sounds pretty cool to start with. So I can just click, drag, dump it down here, but I can see that this is very loud and it starts off with nothing. So I really do need to just clip it so it can start a lot sooner. I'm going to put it down in here. And because the music is very loud, I don't want people's ears to be blown off. I'm selecting the audio section and I'm just going to pull the volume down. You can kind of eyeball it and see that most of my vocal range was in this area close to this line or a little bit lower. So I want the music to match it. Now I'm going to listen back. Here's key. It seems alright. It is a bit louder than the vocals, but it's not going to shatter your ears. So maybe let's just drop it down one more time and that should be good. One thing I did notice while playing through is that there is a very sudden break and it feels very unnatural and wrong. So I'm going to use a simple transition. Now a transition is how the video moves from one cut to the next. And there's a lot of options and you might think a lot of them look very cool, like the dissolve effect and checkerboard and that sort of thing. But in all honesty, it looks kind of childish when you do it. I like to go for something more simple, just a fade through black or a glow effect. So I'm going to use the fade through black on this one here and just see what it looks like. Consistency is key. Now it's a little bit jerky because I'm watching it in real time, but I saw that the effect is good and it is what I want. Now the audio is also kicking in a little bit too quickly. So I can select audio and then go to fade in. And you'll see it has adjusted the early part of the audio. I want it to fade in a little bit faster. So I'll just move this audio point to a better place. That's good enough. And now I'm going to listen to that break again and see how it sounds. Because remember, consistency is key. You see how that sounds a lot more natural. Then, obviously this song is shorter than my video clip, so I need to keep on going down and I'm going to look for the point where the music ends. Okay, that's where it ends. And I can see that it's faded away here. So I'm going to choose another track. I don't want to keep repeating the same track over and over again or people get horribly bored. So let's look for something else. Alright, I think that track will do quite nicely in here. So I'm going to click and drag it down. I'm going to pop it up here. And now that the wave has loaded, I can see that's where this one fades out. So I'd want it to start, say about here. So we have very little change in volume. Now this is going to be much louder than the previous one. So once again, I just need to take it down. And I'll see that the average volume was about this distance away. And I also want to set a fade in. We could even fade it in a bit earlier, so there's a bit of a crossover. And let's see how it sounds. Not completely happy with that. I'm going to start it a little bit earlier, so you don't get that empty space. Still not happy. I'm going to move it even more. I think that when this falls away, I would like the actual melody I'd like the actual theme of the song to kick in. So let's see how that sounds. I quite like how that sounds, so I'm going to keep it like that. And now we keep on going and we look for the end of the track. While we're doing it, we're just making sure there aren't any strange spikes. Alright, this is where the track ends. We still have a lot of time to go, so let's find something else. Yeah, hero theme sounds good. Let's put that one in. Here we can see it's how the music kind of comes up, so it'd be nice for it to kick in as the other one is fading away. Once again, the volume is way too high, so let's pull that down. And let's see how it sounds. Okay, that was very lucky. I think that works very nicely. I'm just going to listen to it one more time and just make sure that I'm happy with it. Yeah, I think we have a winner. Obviously, because I've heard these tracks before, I know what they're going to sound like and how they're going to fit in. Once you have a collection of music that you go to in your library, you'll also have the same thing. But I don't want to bore you by sitting here and listening to the entire thing. Alright, we still have some more space where this fades off and it comes into, and there's still more video at the end, so we need another track. Yeah, that sounds cool. Let's put that one in. So I'm gonna drop it in here. We can see this one kicks off very quickly. So let's drop the volume on this one first. And now we want to listen to how it kind of breaks and get a feel for it. Alright, we can hear that that clearly doesn't work. However, this one seems to end over there and then just fade away. So let's try and line it up like this and see what happens. One more time. Okay, it's a bit syncopated. Okay, I'm not very happy with that transition. So I'm going to slide it back like this, go to audio and choose fade in. I'd like a faster fade in, but I just don't want it to suddenly kick in. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, it's a bit early. Let's pull it back. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to keep that. And let's go and follow this again. Okay, we still have a lot more video to go through. That's no problems. So let's go and find something else. What's this one? No, that would stick out too much, wouldn't it? Not quite right. No. Yeah, I'm not convinced about that one. We've already used that. Nope. 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 I'm not so sure about that. Sounds like a cheap gyms kind of music. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Let's put that in. And we can see the volume is all off, so let's sort that out. Let's just see how it mixes in. Not very well, does it? Let's fade it in, and I'll leave this with a slow fade in. We'll see how that sounds. Still not quite right. Let's try it a little bit later. We'll have a bit of dead air though. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's listen one more time. Yeah, that works. I'll keep that. And then we keep on going. Oh, we look at the end of the track and I can see we still have a lot more space to go. Let's find another one. Yes, definitely. I like that. I think it'll suit a lot of the other music that I've been using in here. And it also has a nice fade in, which means it should be easy just to get it to sound cool. Let's have a listen. Great, but it is also very loud. We don't want people to feel like they have to keep adjusting their volume. So let's pull that down. And we'll take one more listen to see if it still sounds good. Great, moving on. Let's go and find where that ends. Sure, we still have a lot to go, don't we? No problems, let's find something cool. We could start repeating things now because we are 12 minutes in, so it won't be too repetitive. Obviously, we'd still like to avoid that. Okay, let's use that. Why not? It's got quite a cool groove to it. We'll just line it up like this. Pull the volume down again. I'm kind of looking at the higher volume scopes here on the right hand side. Oops. I forgot to select where to play from. And we're gonna just listen from here. That doesn't quite work, so I'm going to let it overlap a bit, and I'm going to use the fade in trick. Let's see how that sounds. Let's have a crossover a bit more. Yeah, that works. Let's just make sure we're happy with the sound of the heavier area. Cool. And now we keep on going again. Alright, we're getting closer to the end, but we do still need some more sounds in there. Okay, that's also kind of groovy. It's also kind of electronic. That could work very nicely. Let's drop it in here. Oh, wow, that starts off loud. So let's kill that volume again. We can see that it starts off with quite a kick, so let's give it a fade in and let's just test the crossover. That works. Let's move on. Are we getting closer? Are we getting closer? Okay, we're getting very close now, folks. Let's find another track. I kind of like that. A bit of chaos in there, why not? We can see that this volume is just peaking way too much. This has to get dropped down a lot. I'm a bit worried about that clipping. Let's have a listen. Okay, it's a lot more manageable. It's still a tiny bit too loud. Let's just draw that down. Just gonna shorten it so it starts off sooner and give this a fade in. Okay, that works quite nicely. And then we're going to keep on looking. Oh, wow. You see what happened here? We ran out of video, folks. That's where the video ends. So I'm going to split all. We're going to kill the end of this track and we're going to give it a fade out. And the end of the video, I'm going to give this a fade transition as well. So when it comes to the end of the video, the music will fade out and so will the video. And that's it. That's going to be the core part of the video that I've included the introduction. This is the one that will be on Udemy. The only difference to the one on YouTube is that the introduction will be slightly different because, well, I'm not introducing them to how to edit courses. Great stuff, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me know how this goes and best of luck with all your edits. Welcome back, all you lovely people. Okay, now we need to look at how to actually create a YouTube channel. In my humble opinion, it's a very good idea to create a Google account first of all. If you don't already have one, you can just head over to gmail.com and register a new Gmail account. Try and have it something that you will remember, not just a spam collection account, but something interesting. This one I've created is just called Udemy Steve. Please don't email me here. I'm not going to be responding from it at all, but I've created the account. I am now going to log in. And as you can see, it's a brand spanking new account. I told you I was doing this from scratch, and that's what I'm doing. The next thing that we're going to be doing is we need to now create a YouTube account. But remember, Google owns YouTube as well as Gmail. So we can go into a new tab. Just head on over to youtube.com. We are already logged into our Gmail accounts in this tab here. We've accessed YouTube, and because it's all the same company, we are already signed in. If you click on the icon up here, it should look like this until you've actually set a profile icon. You then now get all of this option here. You can go into the Creative Studio, you can change your settings. You see here we have our account information. That's the email address that I created, and now we can create a channel. Think of it as a TV channel. You can have multiple channels assigned to one email address, which makes life quite nice. It means, let's say you are releasing videos on sewing, as well as gaming videos, as well as videos about horses. You can have it in separate channels, and it's a good idea to do that because if people who are interested in gaming hate horses, they're not going to subscribe to you. So keep it separate. I'm going to click on Create a Channel. And for now, I'm just going to click on Create Channel again. And now I've created a channel called Udemy Steve. This doesn't make a lot of sense. The videos that I'm going to be uploading are based on a game called Path of Exile, and I'm going to focus on just one type of video. So I'm going to go back to account settings, and now further down there's an option here to create a new channel. This one I'm going to call Path of Exile Hideouts. There is a reason why I've chosen this specific name. This channel I'm using as a temporary channel for this course because I want to have a channel with 0 subscribers on and 0 views, so you can see from the very beginning how a handful of videos can start growing and start getting bigger and bigger. Another sneaky thing is that because a lot of people search for the words Path of Exile Hideouts, a specific game and a feature inside the game, this means that my channel might start showing up in the search engine results. Need to select your category. This would fall under arts, entertainment, or sports. And I agree to the page terms. It's a good idea to read through the page terms at least once. The long story short is don't do anything illegal and don't steal other people's stuff. Now here we go. Here is our first YouTube channel. We have absolutely nothing in it, so it looks incredibly boring and dull, but that's why we're not going to advertise it just yet. But it is here. It's ready for us to start uploading videos to. We can change the channel art and everything like that, which we will cover a little bit later on in the course. But for now, yeah, that's how you create a channel. There are a few things that we need to do before we can even upload a video, besides setting channel arts and things like that. As you can imagine, YouTube being such an immensely successful and popular business, there are a lot of people just trying to upload rubbish content just to try and make a quick buck. So YouTube need to protect themselves, so they need some kind of verification in order for you to be able to access more of the features. For example, if you want to upload a video that is longer than 15 minutes, your account needs to be verified. If you are wanting to earn money from your YouTube channel, your account needs to be verified. And well, let's face it, that's why we're here. In order to get hold of these options early on, what you want to do is click once again on your icon up top here, and we can go into the Creator Studio. This is your dashboard. Now, as we have it, we have very little going on because, well, we've done nothing yet. So let's go down to the channel section. And now you'll see that these are the various features that we have access to currently. We have community guidelines, good standing, because we haven't broken any kind of copyright notices or anything like that, because we haven't uploaded anything yet. And the same applies for copyright itself. So what we want to do is we first want to click on verify over here. Now, what they want to do is send us a text message or even phone us with a verification code. This will link your mobile or cell phone number to your YouTube account. It doesn't guarantee that you're not a scam artist or spammer, but it certainly does help a lot. So let's go ahead and I'm going to set this up with a verification code. I'm going to put my phone number in here, which I will blur out. And then once you put in your phone number, click submit. I should be getting my verification code any minute now. It's usually quite fast. There we go. Now they sent me a 6-digit code. This code will expire. I think it's after an hour, maybe a day, I'm not really sure. But just make sure you put it in as soon as you can, just get it verified straight up. Congratulations, your YouTube account is now verified. Now all of a sudden, we start picking up these extra things that we can now do on YouTube. We can now have videos that are longer than 15 minutes. We can use external annotations, we can have our own thumbnails, which is great, and it allows us to have unlisted and private videos. The next thing that we're quite interested in is monetization. That's a nice way of saying, let's make some money from our videos. So I'm going to select choose your country location. I am down in South Africa, but choose a country that you are from, obviously. So I've selected South Africa. I'm not going to put in channel keywords just yet. That's going to be a separate video altogether. Advertisements, this will allow them to advertise next to my videos. We can disable interest-based ads, which isn't really that important. AdWords account will allow you to spend money to promote your channel or to promote your videos. We don't want to spend money, we want to make money. So we're not going to be doing that at all. If you have a website, this is where you'll be able to link it back to. You'll find that it helps with the SEO of your actual website. And then we go down and we have a look at channel recommendations. Allow my channel to appear in other channels' recommendations. Well, of course. This means if somebody else has a channel on the same topic and people are watching it, then their channel might recommend your channel. It's a good way to share subscribers, especially when you're starting off. This is a bit iffy. If you want to display how many people are actually subscribed to your channel, a lot of people in the early days, they don't really want to display how many people are subscribed. because if you go to a YouTube channel and you see there's only 10 people subscribed, you're less likely to click subscribe. So I'm going to leave it off until we get some more. And here is where you'd link it to your Google Analytics account, which will allow you to track a lot more, figuring out where people are coming from, what keywords they're using, and that sort of thing. Once you're done, you just click save. Okay, our changes have been saved. Let's go back to the main channel window. And now you can see we have the option to enable monetization. That's because we have confirmed our cell phone number, which puts us up a bit. We've confirmed which country we're coming from, because some countries don't allow monetization of these sort of videos. And now we can just click on enable, and then we can click on enable my account again. It's a very good idea to go through these program terms. This is a proper contract, and like I said earlier in the video, this is a proper course that you will be doing. What the terms are doing though is that it's describing how the relationship between you and YouTube works. Go through it in your own time. I'm not going to bore you to death by reading it all out. Once you have gone through it and you understand and agree to everything, you click I have read and agree to the terms. I will agree not to click on Google Ads, because some people think, oh, I'll just click on my own adverts. Well, they're smarter than that. And you are saying that you will not opt in for content for monetization which you do not possess sufficient rights. Basically, don't steal other people's work and try and make money off of it. We click accept. And now it's telling us where we can click on each video. But we don't have any videos up yet, so I will show you that later on. Excellent, folks. So now we've done everything there, so we are ready to start uploading videos and making money from them. So let's go through the course. We'll be learning how to record, how to edit, and how to upload, and then a bit of publishing and to minimize everything. So now that I've finished the video that I'm planning on uploading to YouTube, I've done the production, I've checked everything, it looks absolutely fantastic, quality came out great, music is the right volume, everything is good to go. Now I'm ready to upload it, but there's one more step that I need to take. If you have slower internet, like me, then you can't upload massive files simply because it'll take so long to do. I have less than 1 megabit upload speed, so as you can imagine this would take forever because the file that I just produced is 2 gigabytes big, which is very, very big. If you have very fast upload and your file isn't too big, just go right ahead and dump it onto YouTube. You can skip to the next video where we do that. But in case you need to do this additional step just to make your life a bit easier, we're going to use Handbrake one more time. So here we go. I've got my Handbrake. I'm going to add my source. It's a single file. And then this will show me what directory that I have it saved in. So let's go back. Udemy courses, gaming videos, Camtasia produced. And it's this one here, YouTube actual upload. I'm going to open up the file, and I've already got all my settings from the previous time that I used it. I will see that it's going to save it into this directory, and that's fine. And now I'm just going to click start. Now we're going to sit and wait for it to encode, and I'll come back to you and show you how big the file is. Okay, so Handbrake has finished its job. It has compressed the file. Remember, it was about 2 gigs if I remember correctly. After Handbrake has done its thing, the file size has been brought right down to 858 megs. That is still relatively large, but it is much more manageable. I've just halved the amount of time that it's going to take for me to upload this video. Alright, let me move this aside. What we are doing now is we're going to actually upload the video to YouTube. Yay, this is what we've been working towards. First thing you want to do is go to youtube.com. We're going to go to sign in. And now remember to use the details that you set up much earlier in the course with your new Gmail account. Awesomeness. Now we're logged in with our YouTube account. The next thing you want to do is click on the upload button up here. One lovely thing that YouTube has set up is that you can either click on, I think it's, here we go. You can either click up here and then browse to the file, or if you have something open like, if you have an Explorer bar open like this one here, you can just select your file, which is this one over here, and you can click and drag it onto the spot, and you'll see it starts uploading automatically. At this point, we can start editing the description and tags and things like that. I prefer to wait until it has actually finished uploading, mainly because my internet is a bit dodgy and I don't want to waste too much time. So I'm going to leave this uploading. Once it's done, we're then going to look at how to set the thumbnail, how to choose a correct description and everything like that, just to try and get you some more views. Alright guys, so the video's up, we've done all the posting. Now we need to add channel art so that our channel looks a little bit more professional. So now the channel is up and running, we're already getting some views on the video. I'm hoping to crack the 100 mark just to show you that a brand spanking new channel can get at least 100 views very quickly if you post in the right place. But now we need to make it look a little bit more professional. So I'm going to head on over to my channel here from the YouTube homepage. And now we need to add some channel art. The channel art, you can either pay somebody to create something for you, you could edit something up in Paint, you could find anything that that looks like what you're doing. The one thing is that the size of the image needs to be at least 2560 by 1440, which is pretty high resolution. They're trying to cover all their bases for people who are using very high res screens and that sort of thing. So I've created an image which I'm going to upload, and I just click on Add Channel Art. And this is where I can upload. I can also just click and drag a photo here. So that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm clicking and dragging and I'm dropping it here, letting it upload. And here is how it's going to end up looking. I need to adjust the crop just so I can get it to fit a little bit better on the various things. On a TV screen, this looks perfect. I really like the way this looks. But on desktop, I'd like to drag this down a little bit. So I'm going to select adjust the crop. And I'm going to resize it. And there we go. Now people will see the name Stevie B quite clearly. Remember, when it's viewing on a device, this is usually people's cell phones. And even though cell phone screens have gotten a lot bigger, they're still not as big as TV screens. So I like to limit the amount of things that are said on that specific image, so it's a lot easier to see. So here people will see the Stevie B. They won't be able to make out gaming. It'll look more like an effect. But when they do view the whole channel, they'll see everything. So I'm quite happy with this. So I'm going to click select. And here we go. Here's how the top banner is going to look. When people view the whole thing on the TV screen, they'll have the big Stevie B Gaming thing in the background. If you want to change your icon, you hover the mouse over and then click here. And this is where you can edit the icon that you want. It's connected to your Google Plus account. So whatever your icon is, your logo in the Google Plus account is going to be the same thing that you're going to have. So I'm going to take something from here. I'm going to use this picture and I'm going to select this area there. So now this is going to become my icon. And there we go. I can see quite clearly Stevie B Gaming. That's awesome. And when people view it on YouTube, it's going to look great. I can't wait to see it. Let's have a look and see how the video is doing. The video's on 88 views already. We've got 4 likes, no dislikes. That's a good thing. And I already have a comment. When you have a new channel, you should really keep an eye on the comments. Try to respond to them, get a bit of a discussion going. It really does help out. Here we go. Hendrik van Jaarsveld. How's it, Hendrik? So yeah, I'm just going to tell him, yep, that's where I'm from. Alrighty folks, that's all. The channel is up. We've got everything going. We've got our dashboard. We've got a video manager. Best of luck creating your own channel. And remember, consistency is key. If you really want to build the channel a lot, you need to be uploading a video at least once per week. This channel specifically here is not one that I'm planning on managing too much. I wanted to create a new channel just to show you guys how to start from the absolute beginning. So you can see something from blank to going. I've only uploaded one other video, this one here, which I have kept private. This is just an introduction video, which I got from Fiverr. I uploaded it so I could share it with people and see what they think. So awesome, guys. I'm going to be editing all my videos and getting it ready to upload, and I will check in soon just to see how many views we have and give you a bit of a follow-up on how it's going. So now the video is online. We've posted it to some forums, so hopefully we're going to start seeing some traffic. The last video I recorded not that long ago, we're already on 25 views, so it's moving up slowly but surely. It's getting there. For a channel that's brand spanking new, that's actually not that bad. We want to hit, say, at least 200, just to prove a point that a new channel can start getting a couple views with just a few posts. What we need to do next is try and grab as many of the viewers as we can to become future subscribers. And how we do that is we add annotations inside the video. So you go back to your YouTube channel, you log in, go to your dashboard, video manager, and click edits. Here we are. Now we want to go to annotations. And you'll see it loads up a very beautiful thing here. It has our video at the top from Stevie B. Let me kill that sound so I can hear myself. Well, kill the sound so I can't hear myself. And what you need to do is select where you want these annotations to go. A lot of people only watch the first few minutes of a video, so it's not bad to put things in early. But if you do have too many things too early, it's very spammy, people get annoyed and they leave. At some point in my video, I actually told people that I'd give them a link so they can skip the time lapse and look at the very end. So I need to find where I said that. So I found the point. It's 1 minute 29. That's where my pop-up is going to be. I'm just going to keep notes. Okay, this is where I want my pop-up to start, and I want it to skip through. And this is the point where I want that to go to. So we're going from 129, I want it to skip to 1536. And now I need to add an annotation for that. It's easier for you if you just, put this down on a piece of paper, but I want you to see all of my notes. So there we go. Now let's go back to that time at 129. That's close enough. And now I'm going to add annotation. You get different types of things that you can add: a spotlight, label, note, speech bubble. I'm just going to use a note for this one. And the note is going to be skip to finish build. And what this start and this end is basically how long is this going to display for. That's quite a while. That's a full half minute there. I only really need it to be up for about 10 seconds. So let's change that to 126 and make it 36. So it'll be up for 10 seconds. It's going to be a link. We're linking to a video, which is the same video here. And now I just need to get the URL for my own video. I'm going to paste the link to my video here. And it needs to start at that time that I said before, which was 1536. The first one is hours, next one is minutes, and the next is seconds. If you're happy with the placement and everything like that, I like to put things sort of in the middle, out the way, so it doesn't bother people too much, like that. And then if you're happy, you click apply changes. Now when people come to this time, this is going to pop up. If they click on it, it's going to skip to where the completed build is. I'm going to add one more annotation. It's going to be very, very similar. It's going to skip to where the time lapse begins, because some people are only really interested in watching that. Okay, we can say at 129 is when the time lapse begins. Let's call it 130. So I'm going to add an annotation early on. Let's say right at the very beginning. Add annotation. We're going to use another note. Just going to say skip to time lapse. We're going to let this run for, let's just make it 10 seconds. It's going to be a link. And now we need to ask for subscribers. You say, you know, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. So I'm going to use another note for that as well. You can see this note that I have here. It's a little bit too long and it gets small. You do want to try and avoid long sentences. This is about as long as I'd be willing to take it. We don't really want it at this point. I'd like to have it inside the most, well, not the most interesting part, but if people are watching the time lapse, it means that they are really enjoying the video. So this is where I would obviously like to have it. So I'll put it up there. And now this one is going to ask people to subscribe. Now we need to enter our YouTube username. If you're not sure where to get the actual username, what you would need to do is go back and look inside your YouTube settings. I'm going to open this in a new tab, so we're not bothering with this. So when you in your account overview, you then go to advanced, and you'll see that you have your username, YouTube user ID, and you have YouTube channel ID, and people are subscribing to your channel. I'm going to copy that code and I'm going to put it inside here. And now this, when somebody clicks in the video, it will then take them to the option to subscribe. It doesn't automatically subscribe, they still have to confirm. Another thing here is open link in a new window. This means that it won't actually stop the video that they're currently watching, but open a new window, and that's where they will be clicking to subscribe. You want that so they hopefully continue watching your video. And now we are done. I'm going to apply changes. And now we just have those 3 simple annotations. We've got the subscribe, we've got 2 skips as well. Simple as that, folks. Welcome back, content creators. Alright, we've uploaded the video, we've edited everything, it's good to go, people can watch it, it's public, it's available. Now nobody's watching it. So, what do we do? When you have a new channel, you can't rely on people just searching YouTube to come view it, because you're going to be very, very low. You're going to be ranked below just about everybody else that's out there, because your channel, you know, no one's watching it. So to get your first couple hundred views and hopefully your first 100 subscribers, you need to start thinking outside of the box. I'm going to show you 2 places, which I believe I will get at least a couple hundred views on this video going. One is go to a forum where people are discussing the topic that you do. Don't be too spammy. Don't say things like watch my video and whatnot, because people generally ignore that. Send it in as a genuine submission. So, for example, in Path of Exile, there are 2 websites which I'm going to be using. The first one is the official pathofexile.com. They have a forum where people can go ahead and post things about their hideouts and so on, and they have the right place for it. So anyone who's interested and browsing through it might come across my link and go ahead and see what it's all about. I'm already logged in with my character information, so I'm going across to forum, and please don't just post it everywhere that you can. You know, don't post it at every single forum, post it in the right place. Otherwise, most places will end up seeing you as a spammer and will ban you. So I'm going to look for the right place. Here we go, under community, they have hideouts. And now I can go ahead and post over here. You need to obviously come up with a title that's to do with your video, but also eye-catching. So I'm going to have it as a hideout of the week submission. Obviously, it's an Elry on hideouts. And I'm including the fact that it's a time lapse. I'm going to type in some content here. I won't make you watch it, I'll skip through it. Alright, so now I've typed up a little bit of content about it so people can read through it. If they're interested in what I have to say, hopefully they'll click on the video and go and view it. I personally find it's a good idea not to beg for likes and not to beg for subscribes and things like that. It doesn't make a huge difference, although sometimes people get pretty upset with everyone begging for subscribes. So I prefer to just leave it out. You can ask for that inside the video itself. Now let's go ahead and post, and I just want to make sure that the link is working. Yes, it is working. Alright, so there's the one forum that we've gone into. The next one, and this is a dark place, folks, this is Reddit. Reddit is, I think, probably the most popular forum worldwide. There are just so many people on it in so many different subcategories, what they call subreddits. Path of Exile has a very active one. You'll see here it's /r-Path of Exile. See if you have a subreddit in whatever field that you're going to be recording. There probably is one, and more than likely it's very active as well. So I want to go ahead and I want to put a post here in Reddit. One note about the Reddit users is that they seem to be quite extreme. They're usually either very, very nice or very, very nasty. There doesn't seem to be a lot of gray area with these guys. So what you're going to do is we're going to submit a link to Reddit once you're in the right area. I'm going to just submit the URL here first, and I'm going to ask for them to suggest a title. And it's suggesting Path of Exile, Elrion, Hideout Timelapse, Hideouts of the Week submission. That title does actually seem fine. I'm not begging anything like that. It's basically just taking the title from my YouTube video, which should be alright. Just make sure you're in the right subreddit. And once you're happy, click submit. Now, when you submit a link, you can't really add description of it. So I like to add the first comments and just tell people about it. So when they're looking at it, they can see my comments and see what it's all about. There we go. Now I've put in the comments. It's the same thing that I posted into the Path of Exile forums. And now we hope that people have a look. Welcome back, content creators. So far, we have learned how to install the different software, we've learned how to record the screen, we've recorded some gameplay, I've gone ahead and edited it and created a video, and now I've uploaded it to YouTube. Because my upload speed is quite slow, this thing took me about 5.5 hours to upload, so I left it until today. What you need to do once your video is uploaded is you go back to youtube.com, you log in, which I've already done, and then we need to have a look at our videos so we can go and start editing it and putting in tags and that sort of thing. What you want to do is click on up here and go into Creator Studio. So now we have our video up here. It has one view because I've viewed it to test it, make sure everything was fine. If you want to have a look at it, you can open it up and just make sure that the video is up there and you're happy with compression and all that kind of stuff. Hi guys, Stevie B here from Stevie B Gaming. My last Alright, so it's uploaded, it looks fine. I'll show you how to make the colors pop a bit more, that makes you stand out from the other guys. Everything is great. Now we need to actually edit it and publish it so the world can see it. Inside your Creator Studio, you'll see that we have this screen across here. Because I only have this one video up here, I'm going to click on Edit. And this is where I can start editing all the meta tags and things like that. There are different ways that your video will start getting views. When you have a new channel, you cannot rely on people just searching YouTube and coming across your video. YouTube has different ways of prioritizing which video is shown after someone has searched for it. There's quite a few things you need to keep in mind. First of all, if you have a new channel, then you're not going to be very high up in the list. That doesn't mean that you can't start off at the very beginning making sure you have the right keywords and the right names. You have to have everything right just to be able to get a cut above all the other new channels that are out there. Consistency is really key with this. You find that channels which have a lot of subscribers will generally be featured higher than channels without a lot of subscribers, and in order to get that subscriber base, you need to build it properly from the start. That's why it's all very, very important to do it properly early on. That's what we're going to be doing here. We need to come up with a name for the actual video itself. The best thing is, yes, I know you're not going to get a lot of search results, but you do still need to keep that in mind. So the name of the video, you need to use keywords that is both relating to your video and things that people would search for in YouTube. So you can't just have something silly like, I don't know, Path of Exile Bobby, because no one's going to be searching for that. So let's try Path of Exile Elrion Hideout. In this game, there is a competition. It's more of a friendly competition where people create what they call Hideout of the Week and they submit their videos. Now, the nice thing is that you also get a lot of search terminology using Hideout of the Week. So I'm going to add Hideout of the Week submission. So now these keywords inside my title are going to be picked up and used for the search engine. When YouTube is doing their SEO, the search engine optimization, they look at the title of the video, they pick out words from the description as well as meta tags below. Once upon a time, you could just keep on repeating a certain keyword that you wanted over and over and over again, because all they did was looked at how many times was that keyword used. And if one video used a keyword 100 times and the other used it 1,000, they'd simply show the one that used it 1,000. But they're a lot smarter than that now. They can pick up when people are trying to abuse the system. So when thinking of your description, try and be genuine with the description that you're using or whatever your video is, and keep in mind that you do still want to repeat the keywords. Come to think of it, time-lapse is something that has done well in the past, so I'm going to put that in the description as well. And now in the description, I'm just going to describe the video. Right, so I've put in a description here about the video itself. I've tried to repeat some of the keywords, but not too much because I do pick up on that. Here we go. I've used the word hideouts a few times, hideouts again, path of exile, time-lapse videos, so it will link to other time-lapse videos. Here's Elrion, that's the name of the character whose hideouts I'm editing. Path of exile again, POE, because a lot of people just search for it like that, and time-lapse again. So I've used hideout, path of exile, Elrion, and time-lapse several times, so that should help a little bit with the SEO on this. Now we come across to tags. So these are words that you're saying should be associated with your video. The idea is that if somebody goes to YouTube and searches for specific keywords, it'll then lend weight for them to come and see your specific video. YouTube have gotten very smart. You can't just link everything. And also, if a meta tag is unrelated to your video, you'll find a lot of people downvoting and actually reporting it. And YouTube will pick up on this and your ranking will slowly drop. And if you're a new channel, that basically means death. So keep the tags legitimate. They need to be related to the video that you're doing, and try not to use too many of them. I'm not sure exactly what the maximum is. YouTube don't really say anything, but what I've done is I've chosen a lot of keywords which I know people search for a lot and are related to the video, and I've just put them into a notepad document. What you can do is you can start typing in the different keywords and pressing comma. Now first of all, this is based on a game called Path of Exile, so that's a good tag because people do search for that. As soon as you hit comma, it saves that keyword and then allows you to put in another one. Now meta tags aren't just one or two words, you can actually string a few of them together, but keep it brief. So people search for Path of Exile, people also search for POE. This hideout is Elrion's hideout. So I've put in the word Elrion. I'm going to put in Elrion hideout as well. You'll notice when you're on YouTube and you're watching a particular video, on the right hand side they have recommended videos, and they're usually videos that are related to whatever you're watching, which means it's more likely you'd be interested in those. How they do that is that they draw information from the meta tags. So if you have one video up, you want people to see your other videos as well. So it's a good idea to use a unique meta tag across all of your videos, and it just makes it more likely that YouTube will start recommending your videos if someone's already watching one of them. So I often go under the name Stevie B or Stevie B Gaming, so I put both of those in here. And now it's more likely people will see one of my other videos from another channel which I was running. Now something that's a bit more unique to this is that it is a time lapse and it is a hideout. So I'm going to first use time lapse and then hideout time lapse in one word. And then lastly, I know a lot of people search for hideout of the week. And an always popular one is gameplay, because a lot of people will search for something like Path of Exile gameplay or Call of Duty gameplay. They very often have the word gameplay in there, so that'll help it a little bit as well. Okay, so now we have a title, we have a brief description, and we have some meta tags in. So that's starting to look pretty good to go. You can either edit your own thumbnail, or you could just either create a custom thumbnail, or you could select one that has been recommended here. Try and choose the most engaging or the most interesting looking one. Now in this game that I've been recording, we have an inventory bar on the right hand side, and people pretty much instantly recognize it even when it's very small. So if I were to choose this one as a thumbnail, I think I would have better success. Let's keep on moving down. Public means that anyone can find it. Unlisted is if you are uploading a video to share with friends and you don't want it listed anywhere but they can still view it, you'd put it there. In that case, you would have to send them a link. They click on it and they can watch. Private would be you keeping the video private, and scheduled is if you want to set a date which this video will be launched. So you could record 10 videos and set them all to launch on particular dates, and a lot of people do like to do that. For the purpose of this course, we're not doing that right now because I need to get this thing up and going. Playlists are quite important when you have a lot of videos up there. Let's say you're doing a general science and technology page. Now, you might cover different factors from, say, engineering to space travel and various other things in between. And people don't want to go who are interested in only engineering and they get annoyed by the space travel ones. So what you can do is you can create playlists. So if somebody comes along and they start watching one of your videos and it's part of a playlist, it could automatically start playing the next video. And if the person's interested, very often they just sit and they watch and they go through several of your videos at one time. And that's what you want. You want more minutes up there. So I'm going to add this to playlist and I'm going to call this PoE Hideouts. So now if I create another Path of Exile hideout, I'll also add it to that playlist. Alrighty, let's go ahead and publish this now. That's going to put the thing up immediately on the web. We won't get any views, but we are going to continue with a bit of editing as well. Alright, so we've clicked publish. All of the things that we've edited are up there. But now we have a few more settings that we'd like to go through. Let's have a quick look at translations. If you want to translate the language, you can just select over here, click add new language, and it'll translate. I don't like these auto translators. They are generally very embarrassing. I'm leaving translations alone. Monetization. This is why we're here, right? Once you click on that, you can now see monetize with ads. And from our previous videos, I showed you how to get everything up and running and above board with YouTube. So now we just need to click monetize and obviously read through this and got it. These are the different ad formats that YouTube offers. Overlay ads are the ones that pop up in the actual main window. Sponsored ads are on the right hand side as well as the big area on the right. And skippable video ads. I personally don't like these ones. So I'm going to take that off. I know that might drop my earnings a little bit, but this is a new channel and I'm trying to build subscribers and I find that that is the most annoying one. So I will wait until we have a lot of subscribers before I re-enable those. Here it already says your changes are being saved. So that's all good. And then we can go to advanced settings. This is a bit of a debate, allowing comments or not, because sometimes comments are very negative and sometimes people are just spamming and they're trying to get links to their own things. And that's, that's something that you can deal with. The good side about comments is that it creates a lot of activity on your video. When YouTube and Google are looking for keywords and things like that, they also check the comment section because it's part of the same page. So if people spark up a conversation between each other and they're using keywords related to your video, it actually helps your ranking. So this is something that you might want to keep on. Just keep an eye on it to make sure that things aren't getting a bit out of hand. When we go down to syndication, this is where we're allowing YouTube to syndicate this video. If you select everywhere, it just means anyone who can access YouTube can watch this video. If you go to monetize platforms, it will restrict it from platforms that cannot run adverts. I don't really agree with that because if somebody clicks to watch your video and they can't, they'll just skip over and go to someone else's. And that person who's on that platform which can't view ads most likely has another platform that can. Distribution options, allow embedding. Yes, allow people to embed your video. This means if they have a WordPress blog or something like that, they can actually embed your video into their blog, and that does pick up a lot of people. I had a video which I posted, it was only getting, 10, 20 views a day or something silly. The channel was quite new, and one video took off really, really well. And it's because a popular gamer took my video and embedded it in his website. And all of a sudden I went from, about 1,000 views right up to about 200,000 views. So allow embedding. You don't need to enable age restriction unless you do have things in there. I haven't sworn at all. There's nothing really that graphic in here, so I don't need age restriction on my video. And then category, gaming. Game title, this is the name of the game. Path of Exile. I'm not going to put in a video location because, well, it doesn't matter where I recorded it because it's all in the game. Video language, we just go to English. You don't even have to choose UK English if that's what you speak. I don't want people to offer subtitles and closed captions. Recording dates, I'm just going to select today. A lot of people with new channels decide not to show their video statistics because they feel that, let's say you go and watch a YouTube video and you think it's good, but it only has like 100 views. You're less likely to like that video or to subscribe. That's what they feel. So this is a personal choice if you want to do that or not. For the case of this specific video, I'm going to make it publicly visible. While you guys are going through the course, you can actually come and have a look and see how many views the video's got. This is not a 3D video, so I'm going to leave it. And if you are being paid to make a video and you are endorsing a product within that video, you need to select this. This is because YouTube are going to be selling advertising space and that sort of thing, and the competitors don't want to be advertised at the same time as, well, their competitors. So they need to know that and just, be honest. Alright, it looks like everything there is happy. Now there's another trick. One more quick trick. I won't keep you long, I promise. Go over to enhancements. Once you've clicked in enhancements, you get this new page across here. This will allow you to make a few graphic edits to the video. It's not really a cut and paste and everything that Camtasia has. It's more like it adds nice filters at the end. What I enjoy doing is you just change the saturation slightly. You see that the colors here look a little bit flat. I'm just going to move a bit further in, like this area here. The colors look a little bit flat. So what I'm going to do is just increase the saturation slightly. Like in this frame here, you can see with the saturation of +1, it just starts bringing up some of the lighting effects a little bit better. Let's try out saturation +2, see how that comes out. See, now the color is really popping there. Okay, so I've put up the saturation a bit and the fill lights as well, and it's making the colors really stand out. Now this might be a little bit too much, so let's try draw back the saturation just one level. Alright, I'm actually quite happy with that. It stands out a lot from the other videos, and it's not too much, but it will separate things. You can go on over to filters and start playing with this kind of stuff, but you really don't want to edit the video too much. You don't want it to look like something else completely. I'm going to leave it like that and click on save. Your current video will still be up there and running. YouTube will be editing the video, and once it's finished editing and people watch it, it will then display the new video. And here we go, we're up to 8 views somehow. Once that's all done, I'm going to come back and show you how to start promoting your first video. Hi guys, Stevie B here from Stevie B Gaming. My last videos on building hideouts has done really well, and I've thoroughly enjoyed making it, but now I've decided to make a new challenge. I'm creating an online course showing people how to make gaming videos, so I thought let me come back to something that I enjoy doing and has done quite well. So, in this one, I'm going to be getting rid of this hideout. Thank you so much for the thousands and thousands of views and the tons of likes that I got from this one that I built. I really do appreciate it. The next one I'm going to be trying out is Elrion. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for me because I'm used to having more space to play with different things. So let's go ahead and delete this beautiful hideout. Oh my god, I don't want to delete this hideout. I love it so much. It's so much nice, but I gotta do it. So let's go ahead. Elrion, I am going to kill you.
Gratitude is one of the finest of them.
So here we are in this tiny little hideout. I think it might be the smallest one. I haven't exactly measured the floor space, but it is definitely a lot smaller than other ones that I've created before in the past. So let's go ahead and see what I can do with this. I'm going to be wiping my old one right now. I'm going to claim it. Here we go. And once again, I'm going to be doing a time lapse. This time I'm going to leave the finished product at the end. I will make sure that there's a pop-up appearing in your YouTube video right about now. That'll let you skip the whole creation process and just see the final product if that's what you want. Great guys, enjoy the show. Hey guys, Stevie B here from Stevie B Gaming. So here is my completed hideout. While I was building it, I sort of came up with a theme that I wanted it to look like a mansion or a manor house that was owned by some kind of powerful dark lord. And this manor house had been attacked by soldiers who started taking the whole thing out and working their way through. And basically, this is the aftermath of a battle scene inside this manor house. So we'll see here that these are the glowing rocks where this Dark Lord would draw his power from. Because it's all cracked open and broken, we've got all of this kind of magic and mana sort of spilling out all over the place. So you'll find it throughout the entire hideout. The whole place is being corrupted. We have small areas where you can see battles took place. Here the table was pushed over, used as a blockade where people were hiding behind. Well, that clearly didn't work out for all of them. Across here we have a small place. It's sort of a makeshift torture area. We've got a poor woman, she's going to be next. This guy was crushed under the weight of the thing being moved. So it's like a makeshift prison. This used to be the east entrance to the house itself. Once the guys had taken it over, they barricaded the area. They needed to keep a small section of outside so they could still have access to this blessing font, which can't be moved. And this is just here to scare people off. So this is supposed to be actually going outside. It used to be a regular room, but now it looks like it's outside. We've got some trees and the whole thing is guarded and closed off. Here we have our vegan, we've got our shopping tool, gladiator's workbench, got that little prison I just spoke to you about. This was the main hall, the main dining hall. That's why we had the room over there. And just more collapsed rubble and all sorts of nasty things have happened. Here we have a desk that's been broken through by falling columns from perhaps upstairs, and some poor hapless victim was trying to get away and got squashed. The reason why Katerina is standing here is that she is interested in this power and what this guy was doing. So she's kind of keeping an eye on it, and Elrond is also quite interested, but more from an academic point of view. Here we have the private courtyard. This is inside the manor itself. The manor sort of builds all the way around it. This just used to be like a relaxing courtyard, as well as where the map device is. So it's like an emergency exit. Obviously Zana is here keeping an eye on the map device. Cool guys, I hope you enjoyed the hideout. I hope you enjoyed the stop motion version of seeing how the whole thing is built. I did struggle a bit with the size of it because it is so small. I hardly got to use most of my favorite things that I have. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Thanks a lot guys, Stevie B signing out. Welcome back content creators. I have a small admission to make. While recording this video, I was secretly hoping that we would get to about 500 views over 2 days. So as a new account with absolutely no videos, 500 views is actually fairly good. So I kind of said that I'm hoping for 100 or 200 so I could come back and then play the video and show you that I had 500 views that came in very quickly. So imagine my surprise when I go to the YouTube channel that we just created and I have a look at how many views we have, hoping to have hit that 500 mark so I could show off and say, well look, we got 500 views in about 30 hours. So, you know, this is kind of proof of concept that it does work. Then I log in and I have a look and I see that we're at 1,854 views. This, I really did no other marketing besides what I've shown you inside the course itself, and considering it's a brand spanking new channel, we don't have the age channel thing going for us or anything like that. And we've hit 1,800 views. This is really good. I'm very happy with this. If you were to do this kind of video, say once or twice a week, you would slowly build up subscribers and you would be doing very, very well. Within, I'd say 6 months, you should be doing very, very well if you follow these tips and tricks. Welcome back content creators. Quite a few of you have asked me why am I using Open Broadcaster when I could just do everything in Camtasia. One of the things that we're doing is trying to produce high quality videos for YouTube. What I've done is I've recorded the same scene from the same game, Warframe, and the one I used Camtasia's recording and the other I used Open Broadcaster. I've split the screens and you can see them on the left and the right. Camtasia was recording in 30 frames per second, Open Broadcaster managed to record in 60 frames per second. I've converted them both down to 30 so all things are equal, but just pointing out that OBS was recording twice the amount of frames. One thing to take note of, Camtasia's studio file, which was just under 1 minute 30, is just over 2 gigabytes big. Open Broadcaster was at 448 megs, so you're looking at a fifth of the file size. Camtasia's side, this also seems to pause every now and then. It seems to have a buffering issue which I can't seem to edit properly. Open Broadcaster, the settings that are used for this are the identical ones that you've learnt in this course. It managed to maintain its 60 frames per second using a lower CPU usage than Camtasia. The output file was smaller and it's a smoother video file. And you will also notice that the colors seem to pop a bit more with OBS. If you have a look especially at the dark areas at the very beginning of the video, you can see straight away that OBS has a wider range of colors that it's recording. Welcome back, YouTube content creators. In this little lesson, I'm going to be showing you how you can record Android games without needing a high-end Android tablet or phone. I play a lot of games on my phone along with my son, but unfortunately when we try to record, the quality isn't quite as good as I would like. So instead of investing in a much more expensive phone that can record well, I got some free software called BlueStacks. If you just go to Google and you type in BlueStacks Android, you should be able to come across it. There are some other programs out there which do a very similar thing. This is the one that I've chosen to use purely because it's quite easy. So what I've done is I've installed a few games just to show you how it'll record. Once again, I'm still using OBS, I'm using the webcam as well, and my normal mic. Everything is a regular setup. I'm just recording the screen. I'll show you now. So now you can see what I'm recording on my left monitor. Basically, there's my video capture device, and I'm recording my right monitor. Right now I've got the left one on, and you can see Audacity on the left hand side as well. So let's turn that off. We're going to go back. And now I'm recording this monitor. You'll notice that I put the webcam a little off the bottom left and more into the screen. This is so that I can trim the edges later in case I don't want it, and I won't cut the webcam any more than intended. So let's see how this records. Let's check out Bad Piggies. With this software, because you don't have a touch device, you're using a keyboard and mouse, sometimes it brings up and tells you specific actions that they've set up for it. So you can just close that box. And now the game has loaded. Remember, because there is no touch device, not all games will be comfortable and easy to play, but things like Bad Piggies, Angry Birds, Plants vs. Zombies, those all work very well. And let's have a look at the recording quality. You can see it's a very new installation because I do generally play this on my phone. So let's try out this one. And here you can be reviewing the game itself, talking about it, how it works, everything like that, telling people the objective of the game, and I can see that I need to build something here. Little cart, it needs to come down. Hit the TNT and that'll blow it down into this area there. To get the stars, I need to do it in under 10 seconds, get the piggy, and I think this means I need to destroy it. So, let's try this out, shall we? Put the piggy in the middle, fan on each side, and now let's go for it. Alright. I guess not. Alright, well basically that's all we're doing. BlueStacks is an Android emulator. You can play almost anything on it that you could get on an Android phone. It's using your computer's power, which is still far more powerful than a cell phone. And because it's on your PC, you can just use OBS. You don't need any other fancy additional software to get it done. Great stuff, guys. I look forward to seeing what you can do.